Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse. I am Peter, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt.
It's game time.
Connor's also here.
Yes, I am.
Hey, I give you as enthusiastic as an introduction as I expect to get a response.
And
I was
Hey,
not
Connor.
wrong.
Do you know,
Yeah,
you know
man.
whose birthday it is today?
Who's?
It's Star Wars' birthday.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
Do
Yeah.
you know what else it is?
What's that?
It's the third birthday of DC's Rebirth
Oh, look at that.
today.
Far more relevant.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as important because one's 3 years and one's much more.
42. Yeah.
But sure.
diminishing returns. It's only more important though when it's a 10.
Speaking
Maybe a 5
of
as well.
diminishing returns, Rebirth 3 years later. There might be some news about this.
Yeah, we'll talk. We've got things to talk about. We've done with DC Comics on this show, and this week we'll be talking about Detective Comics 1004, Action Comics 1011, Wonder Woman 71, The Flash 71, Batgirl 35, Justice League Dark issue 11, The Terrific 16, The Silencer 17, Dial H for Hero number 3, and Freedom Fighters number 6. Woo!
Hey, I read like all but I think 2 or 3 of those.
I read all but 2. There's 2 of those that I don't read. One that I want to read, I'm just behind and it's hard to catch up, and then another one that I dropped. But yeah,
I read
busy week.
some.
Connor read some.
Connor, I read books.
I read what I could fit in after I got home from work.
Connor read books. So that's what we're talking about. And that's actually a minus one because Heroes in Crisis get pushed to next week.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next week, which
Yeah.
is it's probably good given how much May is on this list. So
Not a lot of books out, but the ones that are quite meaty.
they're hefty and meaty. Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably spend a good hour on Doomsday Clock alone next week, and then
I mean, even if it was 4 pages, we'd find a way to do that. Like,
yeah. Page 1 is that.
I know it's got the panel that Gary Frank's been teasing for about
Yeah.
4 goddamn months is in the next one.
Here's what I want to give credit to Johns and Frank about is there's been gaps between these issues, but I still remember what happened in the last one. It's memorable versus
It
some
is,
other
yeah.
books that I was just like, oh yeah,
this was
happened.
2 weeks ago, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, what happened?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yep, so that's what we do. Episode 156 of Comics from the Multiverse, and we'll be talking about those books. We do have some news, though. We actually have some pretty meaty news this week that had kind of some controversy that then felt less controversial by the end of it, although there's still speculation
We
to be
should-
had.
we
But-
should take them on an emotional journey as we went through.
But before we get to that, we do have sales figures to talk about. We're kicking
All right,
off
get on it, Pete.
with sales figures for the month of April 2019. Everyone's favourite time. Everyone's
I don't
favourite
need
time
to
of the
do
month. Number 1 was a Marvel book because they like to overship the number ones and take that number 1 slot. It's actually a really obvious one. What would
It's
you
War
think?
of the
War of the
Realms,
Realms.
isn't it?
It's War of the Realms, yeah. War of the Realms issue 1.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's probably not even a case of overshipping. It's just big event number 1.
Yeah. Jason Aaron.
Maybe. I don't know. 187,000 to me feels like there's some variant strategizing going on there.
Probably
I
a
mean,
little bit.
But not like they're used to. Marvel. It's
Well, they've
not
done
like,
worse. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is up
Yeah.
there with the worst of them, but
I would still have expected that to comfortably be number 1 anyway.
Yeah.
well, that depends. Okay, if you don't agree with me, there's some dodgy game in the system going on to get to 180. Because I agree it would be 100,000 at least. I don't think it necessarily would be 187,000. Number 2 though, you're going to agree that Marvel's game in the system with this one, because number 2 is Symbiote Spider-Man with 165,000.
Yeah, there's some dodginess there.
Yeah, that one I'll give you.
I don't care that Spider-Man's in the title. Symbiote Spider-Man number 1 at
Yeah.
165,000. No.
Ugh.
And then probably a more genuine one, although this one still hurts me personally. Batman Who Laughs is number 3 with 103,000 copies.
Oof.
I know.
People.
I know.
Matt, you
Hurts me.
buy it as well. Stop giving them shit.
Yeah, but mine's if I wasn't doing the show, I wouldn't. There's a difference. Like a lot of them, I don't think a lot of them are hate reading it as I am. You know?
Yes,
Like,
I could see that.
Probably not.
Number 4 does make me kind of happy though. Immortal Hulk number 16 with 90,000. That's like
Yeah,
higher.
that's getting a 5th printing soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's getting higher than usual for Hulk, right? Like Immortal Hulk hasn't been this high the whole time.
No, but at this point, the word of mouth has spread because I know I've recommended it to a couple people.
Yeah, it's good.
So by 16, you would think now people can be caught up, especially in the digital age.
But if only that happened to all books that were good and had good word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it doesn't.
This is probably a little bit of overshipping on Marvel's part as well. But you know, it is going back for a 5th print in like a year after the issue came out. So I mean, clearly there is interest there.
Yeah, numbers 5 and 6 are Batman 69, 68 in that order. So 69 actually outsold 68 a little bit.
Too low. Too low for DC.
88,000 and 87,000 respectively. Number 7 was Thanos number 1 with 81,000. Number 8 was Heroes in Crisis number 8 with 79,000. Number 9 is Web of Venom Cult of Carnage issue 1.
Man, even the parentheticals of parentheticals.
With 77,000. And number 10 was Amazing Spider-Man number 20 with 76,000. And notably
that one's probably genuine.
Yeah, that one feels genuine. Number 11 notably was Amazing Spider-Man 19 with 74,000. So was 20 the first no, it couldn't have been, was it? The first Hunted.
No, that was like
issue
17 or 18, I think.
Last
issue was 21, and that was like the 4th issue maybe of it.
Is it just because 20 is like a semi-landmark number? Is that why it's up a couple of thousand?
I mean, it's not as landmark as 25. So
I agree. I'm just trying to figure out why it's up a couple of thousand. Is it like one variant that was just really nice that they ordered a bunch more copies of it? Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, it's only 2,000, so it could be that. It could be totally that.
Yeah.
War of the Realms number 2, I think it's worth mentioning at number 12 with 70,000.
Nice.
And notably, that's the same month as War of the Realms 1, which means they ordered the copies of those at the same time.
Yeah. I would have always expected that. I'd always expect over 100,000 comfortably for the first issue of an event.
Humans are trained monkeys. Like, we see it number 1, we want to buy more of it. Right? Yeah. Even though sometimes the 2, because they tend to order less. I remember this even going back to Origin in the early 2000s, is that number 2 held so much more value because shops ordered less of it. Right? Because they didn't know at the time if one was going to be a hit. So...
Yeah, it's because they order a lot for 1 because they expect a lot of people to try it and then go, actually, do you know what? I'm good. I don't need the second one.
Although, if you read War of the Realms, I don't know how you could do that, because... Yeah.
You'd be a fool.
God. Makes me want to listen to Viking metal on a loop. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. I don't like it as much as you two, though.
Clearly.
Person.
Yeah. Read me more Frost Giants. God, that moment was so good.
Yeah. So that is So Detective Comics 1001, 1002 at 66 and 61,000 respectively, at 13 and 14, and then both Justice League issues at 15 and 16, 56 and 55,000 respectively, and then a bunch of Marvel stuff. I know Matt likes to know where Superman is. Superman issue 10 is at number 23 with 48,000. And then Action Comics is at number 30 with 42,000.
Damn, I was gonna say 29.
Oh, well, there you go. Unfortunately, beating Action Comics 1010 was Major X issue 1 at number 28 with 43,000.
People are trained monkeys.
Just wait till issue 2 beats it as well, Matt.
Yeah, they see X in the title, and they're like, oh, look at this. That said, I've had many people recommend Mr. and Mrs. X.
That's actually quite good, annoyingly.
Yeah. And notably, Detective Comics 1000 actually charted at 26 with 45,000 for April. So, enough reprints were sold.
Yeah. Seems like it.
So, yeah.
It's quite impressive.
Worth noting. Then the Flash books at number 37 and number 40. With 38 and 37,000 respectively. I'm just kind of looking for notable DC books at this point. Young Justice at 52 with 31,000. Number 52, yes, very good. Yes. That's excited. And then from there,
I wonder if
basically
DC's
says-
upset with Bendis because his books aren't selling like they should.
They're not selling crazy numbers, are they? I mean, they're consistent and they're good numbers, but they're not crazy by any means.
That said, he's writing like 3-4 books. I don't know any other writer that's doing that right now.
No, across the board,
At
they're
one
probably
time.
pulling in enough total. But
Yeah.
like, I genuinely do think I'm surprised that his Superman in Action aren't selling more with his name
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, let's give it to this week when there's a big event that's tied in. And
Yeah, that might help, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, mate. I wonder if it's just that Bendis doesn't have the same cred with DC fans that he did with Marvel, and that's why
That's true.
Possible, yeah.
the attachment is solid, but not quite what it was.
I've known so many people that they're just Bendis fans that jumped to. Some of them are reading Superman for the first time because of it. So maybe other people are just like Connor were like, Bendis, and they dropped. But
Yeah, could be.
I agree. There's too many.
I genuinely would have expected a bit higher, and I wonder if DC is a little bit disappointed in that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna take him off the books and.
Well, here's the thing. I doubt it because he's still selling better than everything that isn't Detective, Justice League, or Batman.
Yeah.
Or events like that. Those are the only things selling better
Yeah,
than Superman in Action. Everything else is underneath them. So
Yeah.
And by a considerable margin, like most books underneath them are under 30,000 copies.
Yeah. Like I said, but they're by no means selling badly. I'm just surprised they're not higher. Because they're both below 50,000, right?
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm making is that like why take them off and put them on like what else what else would do better? Like I don't.
Yeah. Who else can you?
I'm
put
being
on that
snarky, Pete.
Yeah. That's fine, Matt. You can be snarky.
I'm seeding breadcrumbs.
You're seeing breadcrumbs for something else.
As a giant hammer.
Yes.
Hello. What a subtlety. Asking for a friend.
Well, you could take the little one.
Huh?
You've seen the movie, Matt. You can get that reference.
I know. But again, I don't get subtlety, Pete.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. All right, well that's more or less the sales figures. We can move on to the interesting news of the week.
Mm-hmm. The real news.
The real news. Sales figures and news. You shot your face.
Yeah.
So earlier this week, rumors were leaking out.
Which we take with a grain of salt because the first place that usually prints this or sends us out, we don't necessarily trust or hold with any great reverence.
Yeah,
so.
But sadly they're often right about the things are leaking, so you have to kind of pay attention.
They're often right in a way. They're usually never 100%
Sure,
right. They usually,
yeah.
there's usually caveats.
Well,
with the
I
things they
actually
say.
I have a caveat actually with how this was originally reported, based on what we know now. When the rest of the actual news was officially released, but the rumors were that Tom King, and this was the word that was used, was fired from Batman, and he was going to be ending issue 85, which did turn to be true. That technically he is ending on the main book at issue 85, and he's not leaving DC. He's still under a contract there. He's going to be working on new projects at DC, but this is going to be wrapping up, and it's people were speculating, is this because it's just dropped below the 100,000 mark? It's now only consistently doing about 80-something thousand per issue. Is it this? Is it that?
Still 5 and 6 though.
There was
there.
other speculation because King's been saying recently that the final 15 issues of his run were going to change Batman for a generation. Whatever he's had planned was so big that he's had to go to the big bosses at AT&T and go, hey.
Yeah.
Can I do this?
And as far as we know, he did get permission, though, right?
He did, yes.
Or else he wouldn't have. I mean, this is how I do it. Remember Tom Taylor constantly teasing Deceased, and then he's like, "It's going to come out on this day," and then it kept getting delayed, like the news, because we assumed that he had to get permission. So I would think that King wouldn't have been foolhardy enough to say all of this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
First obtaining the permission.
I think whatever he was doing is still happening.
Yeah.
Technically, how much of an impact that it'll actually have in Batman comics afterwards is up to just whatever DC are going to do. But he does seem to get permission from the higher ups. So that does seem to happen. It doesn't seem as doom and... I mean, obviously, if you want to King off the book, then you're happy anyway. So you're, what do you care? You're just a happy chap. But it doesn't seem as doom and gloom from a didn't. Like, I think the way it originally was reported, it felt like, oh, this might actually have some bad blood behind it. It might actually be some salt because it sounds like he was yanked off the book. And whereas, as much as it doesn't seem as planned, the official news that's come out now, and this was even speculated by people, is that he would get to just finish what he was doing in another book. It just wouldn't be the main Batman title. It would just continue. And I think even at that point, I said, oh, that's not entirely unheard of. I mean, Grant Morrison's run did switch books a couple of times. This makes me think of Batman and Robin. And sure enough, the official announcement from DC just yesterday is that he's going to be getting a 12-issue Batman Catwoman series, which will be monthly, starting at the start of the year. He's ending with issue 85 in the main book, and then his final chunk will be that 12-issue maxi series, whereas it doesn't quite go up to the same issue count as it would have been had he hit the 105, 107 range that he was expecting.
I think he was saying 107. This would bring him up to what?
97.
97?
97, yeah.
So, yeah.
That said, though, I mean, if you tell me that part of what that the next 30 issues was going to be have another Nightmares-esque arc in it, and that's what was cut, sure, cut it. It's fine.
But before we found out he was getting the secondary book, right, and transitioning over, kind of felt bad. All of the seeding that he's done, you kind of just want him to finish the story.
I think whether you like or dislike what he's done, him planning for 100 issues and getting this far and then being told no, you can't do it is a slap in the face.
That's what was more upsetting to me than him being, quote, removed. But the fact that he gets to do Batman Catwoman now, I'm okay. Yeah, he seems to be okay.
Yeah, he's finishing no matter what. And I think when the wedding didn't go through, and we all had opinions about that. My thought, regardless of how I felt about how they did it, because I thought issue 50 was weak, is I always expected that that the point of that was because it was eventually going to be dealt with later. Like, it was going to be either they get married later or they're going to have a better moment out of it.
It's informed the rest of the from the last 15 issues. We're at 60. What are we at?
Oh, we're at
70 now.
72 or something like that.
Yeah, so then the last 20 issues.
Yeah, so and the fact that they're doing Batman Catwoman tells me no, this is clearly what his whole run's about. It's about addressing this. Yeah. We're going to be having them while they're married or while they're doing other things and dealing with their feelings, whatever. But to be fair, other than issue 50, the Batcat stuff has largely been the best stuff in his run. Like that and some of the more direct Bane stuff. So yeah, I feel pretty fine about this. It's just kind of whatever. The other details though that made me feel that the wording had been a bit off to me in the early reports is that it seems like, and this was confirmed again today, that other books are doing the same thing. The DC want the main Batman book to go single shipping starting in January 2020, and they wanted to tie into overall continuity things like events and other things that are going on, even if that just means the other Bat books, because it was very Bat family focused the way they phrased it in the official text.
Yeah.
Which to me actually sounds like that's actually more the reason for this than it is to do with what King's doing in his story. It sounds like what they actually want is that they want the main Bat book to be monthly and to be tying into other things. And to let King finish his story means put them on a separate Bat book that will finish it up. Because they also said they don't want to lose sales, apparently. So they're going to have one issue of the main Bat book, whoever's writing it, come January, and then one issue of Batcat from King. And those will both be going throughout the year.
Yeah,
and you still have two Bat books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suspect we might see something similar with other titles as well. That are going single now, like Flash, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm expecting a second Flash book. I'm expecting a second Wonder Woman book. It'd be nice to get a second Green Lantern book, DC. Maybe like Grant Morrison's Reign of Terror not last this long.
The real question that I'm interested in is something like Justice League, which is kind of one of the flagship books, right? Mm-hmm. That's spearheading a whole corner of the universe. It's driving towards events and such, and that's been double shipping consistently. Does that just drop to single? Do they add in a second book? Maybe give Tynion like a separate ongoing with that, like to pair up with it more to focus on the.
I can
the
see though, like kind of Marvel does this, right? Where books kind of can double ship where need be.
Yeah, they do 3 issues over 2 months typically. Don't they?
So I could see Justice League still doing that. And it's funny that you mentioned Tynion. I saw on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, him saying that he wishes that Justice League Dark could be double shipping just because he has all these ideas and stuff that he wants to do and not enough pages for it per month.
Do you know what's crazy is I was reading this week's issue of Justice League Dark. Obviously we'll talk about pro when we get there, but I got to the end of it and I went to fill in, in my database. Okay, read this issue. And went, shit, that was only issue 11. so much has happened in this book. I mean, it was boosted a little bit with Witching Hour, don't get me wrong.
Just to go back to Justice League, I actually think Justice League might be the one book that double ships still. Like, just that and that alone. I see no evidence. I mean, maybe they will do the Marvel thing, but I see no evidence to suggest that right now that they'll because they've never done it, as far as I know.
No,
DC,
I think DC loves since at least the start of the New 52, they've loved the consistency. Of, No, we don't want delays if we can help it. We want to hit the same week every month.
Yeah, because we say this all the time. We know what a week 1 feels like, what a week 2 feels like, what a week 3 feels like, and they're pretty consistent until books either get cancelled or new books are added in or whatever. But Superman comes out in week 2. Batman comes out in weeks 1 and 3. We're used to this. It's just the same, and I largely suspect that come January it'll be Batman will be week 1, Batcat will be week 3, or vice versa, and that'll consistently stay.
Yeah. Well, and then you look at we know that Williamson's jumping over to Batman Superman, so if they go to single stripping on Flash, that doesn't impact him so much. He could stay on Flash, and still do that. So it makes a lot of sense, and I've been wanting them to do this for a little bit now because it just seems like outside of books like Justice League and Wonder Woman, sometimes the double shipping seems more like a hindrance than a help, where the stuff feels like filler, especially on Flash. I love Flash. I love Williamson on Flash. But for the not for the most part, but there's some stuff in there that just feels like filler.
Yeah, not every arc has been a winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
here's the question: would Nightmares have gotten approved if that was over half a year?
It would have been
of
like
story?
Pete. Would have been like Pete's been pitching since Nightmare started. Like this could have been 2 or 3 issues just condensed.
Yeah. Flipping between the Nightmares rather than giving each one its own issue.
And I don't even mean from like the writer's perspective, because they've got their ideas. They probably want to do all these things in every issue, but I don't see an editor going, yeah, sure, even for something that's going to take over 6 months to do this, whereas 3 months is a lot more. They're acceptable to that.
King's also taken a lot of chances with Batman, and I give him credit for all of that. I mean, you had that Penguin issue that was all done out of a Shakespeare sonnet, right?
Yeah.
I think, was that Shakespeare? So and then the Nightmares, love them or hate them, that was a risk to halt what you were doing to these kind of ethereal dream issues over Batman. So at least he's swinging, and I'll always give him credit for that. Even Morrison over on Green Lantern. Yeah, I want to be reading Green Lantern right now, but from everything I'm hearing, people are loving it.
It's not your average Green Lantern book.
No.
Green Lantern for the past decade has felt, oh yeah, it's a Green Lantern book, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really hope when they switch to single shipping for all these books, it's upsetting for Wonder Woman because I think Wonder Woman so far has not felt like it's missed a beat shipping. Like in terms of, I don't think anything in Wonder Woman's felt like filler. It's all felt like solid arcs.
I think it's worth noting though that all of the double shipping books felt like that early in their run. It was only when they got after the first year where they started going, okay, we need to catch up a bit now. It's where we started getting more fill-in artists, last-minute things, whereas Wonder Woman's still so early in its story.
You say that, Pete, but I'll remind you, James Robinson had a run that we were not.
Oh no, I just mean since Wilson started, right?
Okay.
I didn't mean since the start of Rebirth.
Okay, I thought that's what you were saying.
No, just Wilson's run. Just Wilson's run.
Taking over. It's been So that's the one that I'm probably going to be saddest about, just because it's been so consistent.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Whereas Flash, I think, is just up and down a little bit to the point where I'm like, yeah, I could see that being tighter if it's single shipping.
I'd be okay with it if it meant a second book as well, ideally by someone else. Not that I dislike what Williamson's doing, but I say this about Superman in Action. I'd rather them split them up so there's some variety. This the same like we got with Batman and Tech. So if we've got 2 Flash books, I want different people on them.
I get it.
Okay. We shall see. So I guess one of the questions we have to just for the record, Batman, Catwoman, Clayman is going to do the art for that, so it'll look pretty spiffy. But so here's something that we should talk about then. If we're getting a new Batman writer, then the speculation begins, and I would like to nominate first of all with a little soundbite here. There's just someone here.
Tom Taylor.
Tom Taylor for Batman.
Yeah, let's pull him off that Spider-Man crap and give him back.
Oh god, I got to the spider bite issue, and that wrecked me.
Man, that was so good.
Spider Bite issue is so good. The friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. No, don't take him off that. Just he'll be done with Deceased, and he can move straight on to Batman. There you go.
He seems so busy right now because he said that he's got like something in each different medium. Like he's got a TV thing and a movie thing and comics things.
He said this week he had 2 comics projects greenlit. Now, he didn't say what company was greenlighting them. It could be 2 different companies, but I'm hoping one of them is DC at least.
You're hoping one of them's Batman, is what you're saying.
I'm hoping one's Batman.
God,
I'll take something else.
Whatever happens with that, man, just please, can we fix the Nightwing stuff?
Oh God, yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think who else I'd want on Batman right now, because obviously there's a lot of people who've already done big things on Batman.
Yeah, I don't want someone who's been on him before. Really, I want someone fresh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think who we got working for DC at the minute. Who's in the in the stable? Just kind of churning out books on a regular
Well, I mean,
basis.
Bendis has not really done Batman yet.
No.
Oh, come on.
Not a run.
I'm doing Batman and Superman.
He has those giants. And he's done. And that's about it.
I'm not counting though. I'm talking about a proper run, like a proper.
Yeah, you know what? They could get Greg Rucka back and have him do Batman. That'd be cool. Because it would be a different tone.
Greg Rucka was our Tom Taylor before we had Tom Taylor, Matt. We used to say Rucka for everything.
We did,
I had to bring it back. So
between Hawkman and then Freedom Fighters and what I'd be okay with Venditti taking a crack.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to jump on board and say I'm excited about Venditti taking over a book yet. I'm not there.
Seeley did a lot of fun stuff in Grayson. I like to see some fun Batman stuff.
Yeah.
He worked with King, so like there's familiarity there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd say Lemire, but I mean, I don't think that superhero is his best.
Yeah. We want it to come out on a regular schedule. And his stuff sometimes with Lemire.
Do you think?
I don't know. The last couple things I've read from Lemire have taken quite a bit, and I lost interest. So, when he's not doing his creator own, shoot, I can't even remember. It's been a while.
I feel like maybe the things he draws as well have delays, but typically the stuff he writes.
I remember, and it wasn't on him, but his Hawkeye. I was pretty excited for that, and then.
Well, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. That was 5 years ago now.
I know.
But
man, I know he's kind of moved on, but Ben Percy on Batman could be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe.
He takes all his vengeance on what happened on his Nightwing run on Bruce. Like,
I don't even know. Yeah, and then that reporter who was kidnapped by the villain that's still not been resolved. Yeah. Remember? We could deal with that finally. I don't know. I don't know who to put on it. Like, it's actually kind of tough.
Gail Simone.
If I was picking someone from Marvel, I might pick Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's doing Captain America right now, because I think he actually might be very well suited to doing Batman. But that's me poaching people from Marvel, so I don't know if that's
I'm trying to think of people who have written for DC, so it's not a.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's under exclusive contracts with Marvel right now.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
changes things a little, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if we get a new Batman writer in January, I suspect we will have an announcement before the solicits for that month, which will be October. So I think September at the latest is when we'll find out.
What big Comic-Cons have we got between now and September? Like
Comic-Con.
Other than San Diego. No, other
the
than
Comic-Con.
San Diego.
Yeah, but they're not really.
They're not going to do it there.
They're Pop Culture Con.
Yeah.
I mean, they could hold out till October for New York. That's the next real big one after San Diego.
I mean, if that takes place before solicits, which I think it does,
it usually takes place like the week before, doesn't it?
Yep.
They could save it there. I feel like there's going to be like big news articles though. I feel like they're going to do one of these things where they've got like an interview and they're going to have. I could see it being that. I could see it being even earlier.
So it goes Emerald City, I think C2E2, WonderCon, and then there's like a big break until San Diego. And then I feel like there's one after San Diego, and then New York.
Because here's what I'm wondering, like, do they also have someone, going along with the what you have at single shipping to tie into things, do they actually have someone in mind? Like, is part of this because they've got a big launch planned with, X big writer who they know is going to be a big deal? And if it is a big deal, then I can see it, being as early as like August, maybe we find out, because we know about Bendis on Superman like way in advance of any.
To be fair, they've been typically announcing
Bendis was coming
reasonably early lately. Yeah.
What if it's just Scott Snyder again? How bad?
No, God. I don't even think that's a possibility, because he's capping up his thing with Capullo with his mini.
Yeah, I don't want Scott Snyder on it.
I know.
I mean, I'd read it, but I don't think that's even on the cards.
Yeah. See, my worst case scenario won't happen because they would never dare to do that.
Lobdell.
Yeah.
Lobdell Batman run.
I'm trying to, because presumably they do want it to be a big deal to follow on from King. They don't want to just kind of put anyone on there. Because, like you said, Batman is one of their highest selling books. It is their flagships, right? It's up there. I don't know if they've got another name in their roster right now that is that's a big deal.
I mean, what's funny is that King wasn't a huge deal really when he started on Batman. Like, he was starting to rise, but he wasn't the name he was now.
He was the Vision and Grayson.
Yeah,
but I think what you have to remember is, because that was at the start of a whole initiative of all these books are going.
Yeah,
there was less pressure on the one change. Whereas now, just Batman's changing. There's focus on this book compared to everything else when the new comes
What I appreciated about Rebirth is it was all kind of low key, because outside of Rucka and Wonder Woman, which that was a huge get,
there's a lot of fresh talent, relatively speaking.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of expectation. It was like, Tomasi on Superman, that could be good. Jurgens on Superman, that's going to be solid. Williamson on Flash, he's a new guy. So now there's
Detective was like maybe.
Yeah, that'd have been really good. I could almost see them doing something like putting someone like Orlando on it. Like someone who they've got a DC stable person, is kind of up and coming. Some people really like him. We've obviously been very critical of a lot of his work, but
I mean, he did do the Shadow Batman.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has familiarity.
I'm not necessarily putting my money on it and saying I'm predicting this. I'm just I wouldn't be surprised to get a name like that.
Who hasn't written Batman? Everyone's written Batman in some form by now. I feel like all the people that we know of. So. And again, I don't know who's exclusive at Marvel, so I can't bring up names.
That's the thing. They've been poaching a handful recently, post Bendis, right?
Yeah.
We got Fraction coming over.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Sue, obviously. I mean, there's an option for you right there, I suppose.
Hey, if Kelly Sue wants to do a Batman run,
I'm just saying. I'm not saying she's necessarily the ideal choice, but there's an option right there of who hasn't written Batman. To Matt's question. But I mean, we could be in for a poaching potentially, but it's probably one of the older guard of Marvel in that case, rather than one of the fresh.
Yeah, it's not going to be Cates or Rosenberg or
Thompson.
Anybody of that? Yeah, Thompson. Any of that?
I'd love to poach Thompson. See if we got Thompson on
I would too, but I would never put Thompson on Batman.
No, I'd put her on Batgirl.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Or even. I give her a team book. Give her.
Can we give her Young Justice?
Yeah, Young Justice, Teen Titans. She'd be great for those sort of books.
Teen Titans. I want to be Teen Titans again.
Sure.
Pete misses Green Lantern. I miss Teen Titans.
She is fantastic at the relatively youthful teen.
Watch Batman Goes to Dan Abnett because he doesn't have anything else to do right now. Silencer's ending.
No. He's on Odyssey.
But we know
Not
he can do 2 books at a time.
Not for long.
Yeah, that book's dead.
Yeah.
Abnett Batman. What a rocking good time.
Yeah, that's like journeyman level. Like, I guess that's not like.
I mean, you really didn't have anyone ready for this, did you?
Yeah. No offense, Dan. We're a fan of your work.
I will say because they made this active decision to remove King and put the end of his run on in a separate book makes me think they do have a plan. They have someone they want to put on it, and they've got a big headline.
I will say my concern is that won't be a big notable run. It won't be a big creator like we're hoping and speculating here. Their whole thing is, oh, we want it to be really into continuity and tie into everything.
Yeah.
So they might just want someone right, do what the editor tells you. Kind of just churn out what we say, which, I mean...
that people accuse Judd Winnick of that on his Bat run, and I don't hate his Batman run.
I'm not saying that necessarily means it would be bad or, unenjoyable.
Well,
but
that's what I'm saying. That was the bag on that back in the mid-2000s, and until he brought Jason back, it was just kind of this, baseline, this is Batman. And I feel it wasn't really until Snyder in the New 52 that Batman became this powerhouse again. Like, yeah, Batman sold, but there was 4 Batman books. So any one of them could really be the figurehead of that time. Or maybe even Morrison.
I'd say under Morrison, yeah.
Joe, I feel like 2 days ago, I think everyone was expecting us to have a lot more like speculation about what's going on with them, like taking King off the book. But
I still think there is some stuff going on there. I think the big, huge shifts that he had to go and request. I'm not sure they're happening anymore. To be honest with you,
maybe.
So you think he went and got permission from AT&T, the head honchos, and now they're not doing that anymore?
Yeah, I think someone changed their mind. I think that is perfectly possible that someone at AT&T went, do you know what? No, way above Didio's level. I think someone went, do you know what? No, we want to change our mind on this.
I mean, I feel like Didio's this guy that just...
I mean...
Again, I have zero evidence for any of this, but I feel like he's like, yeah, Tom, go ahead and talk. And then it worked, and he's like, crap. We can't do that. And then he flexed his muscle as co-publisher and was like, "Hey, we can't do this."
I feel like there was more speculation to be had before DC came out and told us what they were doing, and honestly, it feels like less of a story now because it's just kind of like it's shifting to another book, whatever, no big deal.
It makes a change for them to be ahead of the game like this because usually they're terrible at these sorts of things.
And there probably is turmoil behind the scenes because there always is, but I don't know. I feel like the sensationalist headlines at the start of this, he's fired from the book. It felt like websites wanting the clicks.
That was one certain website because this is what they always do, and everyone else went, well, I mean, there is a story, so we're gonna do a headline.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that wording really paints it in a very specific way, and we have no idea if King's even pissed. Like, was King pissed when he found out the weekend? Oh, you're moving to the end of your run's going to move to another book. Sure, even if he's still getting to do exactly what he wanted, I'm sure there's like a male sadness that it's not a continuous number 1 through 107 or whatever.
Yeah, there's something in the sense that his Twitter was like dead for a day when this was breaking, and the only thing he tweeted was, "Oh, thanks for the support, guys." Mm-hmm. And that didn't sound super positive. Do you know what I mean? Like, there were things like that where it made me feel like this isn't his ideal situation by any means.
But he worked for the CIA. He knows how to.
He knows how to shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows how to shut up when he needs to shut up. Yeah.
The one tweet that got me was from Garrett's, and it was basically telling people, don't believe everything you read. And I feel like Garrett's is his closest confidant.
Yeah, he put an update on that today. Garrett's, retweeting the Batman Catwoman was like, "Hey guys, see, I was trying to tell you."
Yeah, so don't believe it. So let's chill out. It's fine. It's probably very amicable. King's still going on to other things because he did say that. He's like, Batman run's coming to an end. That's fine. I get to move on and do other things.
Yeah, him and Garrad's have already got the next 12 issue thing in the works. We know that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is just that this leaked early and DC didn't control the story. They didn't get out quick enough. They confirmed that yes, he's ending.
I love though that this was
before they told us.
But
about
I think everyone is so desperate to have gossip and a juicy story to rag on that they have to add all this passion into it and be like, no, there was a fist fight behind the scenes. Didio had King round the neck and King was like, I was in the CIA, you bald fuck.
That's exactly what all the websites were. They're terrible. I think DC could have helped though. Like, as soon as this story broke and they confirmed that yes, he's leaving at 85, they could have just put the announcement out.
I was gonna say that on Game of Thrones they said chaos was a ladder. This time this was a ladder to nowhere. But then when Pete made that whole scenario, it made me think it became a ladder match, right? And then Capullo shows up and is just dropping people for no reason.
Who says Capullo on?
I'm just saying, he just shows up like a wrecking crew in a ladder match.
Okay, and then Bendis has to get involved because apparently this is some sort of match just between bald men. So you got King.
I think it was more just that Capullo is jacked.
Yeah, like Capullo comes in and pushes over the ladder just because you're like, oh, what's Greg Capullo doing here? You know, like I might have been very upset with Money in the Bank on Sunday. This is where a lot of this is stemming from. So yeah,
I may have heard of the stupid ending. I didn't watch it,
Yeah.
but I may have heard of the stupid ending. Yes.
I thought Ali was dead. I thought Brock murdered Ali. The way he shoved him off that ladder. We witnessed a death in the ring. But he's okay.
Oh, good. That's just good news.
Yeah.
That's good news. So yeah, I get sick of everyone wanting the
Yep.
drama, and
And this is, and I don't know, you're very good on Twitter, right? But like, this is why I lay low from Twitter from time to time, just because there's just too much noise. And sometimes you need to go into a quiet room and be without it, you know? So, because people they all want the gossip, and this is all it is. Nobody wants to have discussions, you know? I mean, we're fortunate enough that we do have people that respond that do want that discussion, right? But a lot of people just don't. A lot of people just want to take the sensationalism and run with it, and so.
well, I shit you know, every so often I'll make a dig at Batman v Superman, and without fail there'll be one random person I've never heard of who'll respond to it being like, was there any need for the Snyder shade? And I'm like, yes there was.
Yes, there is.
Go back into your hole. Go away.
Well, my favorite take on this is talking Superman, to where he's like, you know, I would love to
Stop
intelligently discuss.
Stop stroking his ego, Matt. Stop bringing him
I'm
up.
not, but I'm saying, I love when he's like, I would love to intelligently discuss this, because there's, you know, discussions in Batman v Superman we could have, but one side comes out and they go so hard, you just can't. So I get it, but no, sometimes you need to lay low and get out of the noise. And
2021, we'll do a 5-year retrospective discussion of Batman v Superman. We'll all rewatch it and we'll talk about it.
I'd make no such commitment to that.
No,
I'm not sure I ever want to watch that again.
Connor's committing right now.
You have to pay me and give me some alcohol.
Like, you don't have some sitting there.
I have some, but I'm not wasting on that movie.
Yeah. And someone would say that's the only way to watch that movie.
yes, blind drunk.
Anyways, hey Pete, what's up with the Snyder Shade?
He earned it. He earned it fair and square.
Yeah.
That's my story. I'll stick to it. All right.
I was just checking if there was actually any other news this week.
I don't think there was.
You never know. So far, I'm 3 days back. The only thing I've found is they're changing the Justice League logo. So probably not.
Yeah, probably not. That's
Yeah.
pretty low key. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on. We can talk about books. So first up, then this week we got Detective Comics 1004, Peter J. Tomasi writing with Brad Walker on the art, and I hope Connor had booze at the ready when he was reading this issue.
Was terrible. I read this first after work, and oh man,
Connor, we've spoken about you assuming what I'm going to say. I hope Connor had booze at the ready when he was reading this, not because it was bad, although I do think it was bad. I'm not saying otherwise.
I just wanted to butt in. It wasn't a prediction of what you were saying. It was just.
But at one point in this book, because this book is a flashback issue where Dr. Arkham's explaining the backstory of how he met his wife and how he had his daughter Astrid. And at one point he says, and I shit you not, and I laughed out loud, and I'll explain this for people who don't watch the TV news in a second, but he says, I thought everything in my life was settled both professionally and personally.
It cracked me up. I'm not gonna lie.
To explain that joke, basically every week in the TV news, me and Cara do, almost cancelled TV news, we'll be reading descriptions from TV shows that are in the works, or the pilots have been ordered or whatever, and they love to use the phrase personal and professional lives. They love to do that. Yeah. And it's become a thing where Cara takes a drink every time they do it, so it just made me laugh.
It has. The exact quote in this was, I couldn't envision how our personal and professional lives could be any more complete.
There you go.
I was like, oh god.
Yeah. So yeah, this is easily the worst issue since issue 1000.
This is the worst issue since Tomasi's taken over.
Guys, I was almost gonna go back and now I'm not.
Well,
now
that's it. Like every issue, I'm like, oh, this is all right. This is better, and then it gets to this, and I'm like,
So I have some timeline questions first of all, because We're still in New 52 continuity here, and Batman was supposed to have only been Batman for 5 years when New 52 started. So Arkham's daughter is like 20-ish, right? That's what Damien estimated her as.
Yeah, which we thought was too old, right? When we saw her. Or too young.
Too young. Yeah, we thought she was older than that. But that's fine, whatever. You're telling us she's about that age, whatever, I'll accept it. So we get the story here of how he met his wife and how they give birth to her, right? So Arkham's already full of like villains like the Joker and Croc and Harley. So Clayface. So Batman's only been active for 5 years at the start of New 52, but 20 years ago, Arkham was already full of all of these villains.
What? Why are we saying it's New 52 continuity still? Is that what they say at the beginning, or is that just you?
Says at the beginning. I think Pete's just assuming it hasn't changed.
Yeah, but it's not changed.
Okay.
We're still in New 52 continuity across the board.
See, I don't think we are. I feel like Rebirth upset all that. So, because you have Superman.
I mean, Superman's definitely wonkied it up a bit with Reborn. Don't get me wrong, that happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they adjusted Superman's age, they've had to have adjusted the Batman stuff. I'm just saying. So he could have been longer.
I feel like we're in this really weird place continuity-wise. We are still in New 52 continuity, but so many books right now are starting to kind of like just blur it. Where like, you know, Young Justice characters are remembering everything.
Do you know what this is?
Yeah.
This is a problem of Doomsday Clock being pushed back so much, and all that missing time was supposed to have been sorted by now.
Yeah. Possibly. That may possibly be why. But anyway, so we have this pickle. So I wasn't really enjoying the flashback in general, but here's what I really hated about this issue is Astrid Arkham is born in Arkham Asylum, and it's the villains who deliver her.
You've got Joker delivering her. Clayface is putting up a big, a big mud shield as a curtain to give us some privacy.
Yeah, like we literally have Joker holding up baby Astrid, and then they wrap her in like that. Some of their one of them takes their prison like overall off and wraps it around her like a little blanket. So she's got the black and white stripes around her.
Yeah,
this issue's freaking terrible.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
It's laughably bad.
I think I'll go get caught up on Green Lantern then when I have some time over this.
Look, Green Lantern may not be everyone's taste, but it is objectively just better than this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if I it's about the same number of issues I need to get caught up on, right? Like,
yeah, it's only on like 7. You read like 2
I made it through 2, so I'd have 4 issues. This I have 4 issues. I think it's gonna be more time well spent. Because this.
I mean, it could be good again next issue. This could just because it's the flashback issue. Like, it could be, right? But because I chuckled once at the end when it comes back to present day again, and like Arkham's telling them this story. There's a little joke where Batman's like, so she thinks I'm the demon in the city, and she's trying to like take over.
That explains why Astrid sees me as a curse hanging over Gotham.
And then Damien goes like, who hasn't?
Yeah,
Batman just glares at him.
That moment it was quite funny.
Yeah, but basically we find out that when little Astrid was about, I don't know, 8 or whatever, her mother gets killed.
No, I thought the mother was killed giving birth.
I was going to say, yeah, it's when she's giving birth, but she doesn't see it until she's older. She's like 8 when she sees the footage.
Yeah. By the way, we should point out Astrid is kind of raised in the asylum. She calls Joker Uncle Joker, and she's there reading like a storybook with him, and it's like, this is awful. Arkham is like my castle, and
this is all
Joker's
awful.
like, you want to be the princess, and she's like, no, I'm going to be the knight. I want to protect the castle and kingdom. And Joker says, that's because you're the bravest of all, Astrid. Like, that is genuine dialogue from the Joker.
Unless they flip this later and this is all in her mind and she's delusional, because I will buy that Joker takes in a kid, but that kid would be way more demented than what Astrid is. Like,
yeah, it is worth noting this is portrayed as through her what do they call it? Her visual diary of her life. So she's done drawings of her own life.
Yeah, so it's not actually accurate as to what the villains were actually doing and saying.
No, so you have an unreliable narrator, and that's fine. But
what is conflicting about that is the first half we've presented as, this is all this visual diary, yet the first half of the story is before she's born and is clearly from Arkham's perspective. So I don't know.
looking in the rules of the story, this guy should not be in charge of Arkham Asylum. I don't care if his name's on the building. Who lets their child hang out with the inmates?
I know.
There's a reason why they're in Arkham Asylum and not Blackgate.
Yeah, they're in a cell. It's fine, man. They're not gonna hurt her.
I think it's implied that she kind of sneaks into the main part of the building. She's not supposed to go in there as a kid. She just kind of does it anyway as a rebel.
Yeah, she found secret ways to move throughout the asylum on a whim.
I wish
places
Killer
where
Croc
even
would have taken a
angels
chunk of her
feel
arm
But yeah.
out.
So anyway, so she's in the footage later that a batarang kills her mother in the neck. We find out later though that it wasn't Batman who threw it. It was like basically one of the batarangs he'd already thrown. One of the villains picks up and throws, and that's what kills her. But she blames Batman.
And Jeremiah was like, "Yeah, just keep hating Batman. That's easier."
Yeah, they don't want
Even though the whole reason that he has a business is because of Batman.
Yeah,
Like, keep hating him.
his reasoning is actually really weird as well, because he's like, I didn't want her to know that it was really my fault that her mother died because I was negligent and couldn't protect her. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not that direct. It's not like you were in the room and didn't do something. Like, you know, like I don't know. It felt like a really roundabout way of logic to have him lie to her.
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I started laughing out loud. See when it got to the page where she's literally giving birth, and like we have the villains around her, like the doctors and
you got Joker holding up the baby.
Yeah,
you know.
This page made me laugh because it's just god awful. And sure, unreliable narrator. It may not be necessarily how it actually played out, but I hated reading this issue. It was bad.
Yeah.
So at the end of the book, Batman and Robin are coming towards Astrid and her.
Yeah, she's got a big
army.
plan. She's got Dr. Phosphorus doing stuff.
He's got a cool look.
Yeah.
Arcane as well. She's got Arcane doing stuff.
Yeah. There's some nice art in this. I really like. I love the way Walker draws Batman. You know, the way he draws the shadows on the cowl, and you know, and the way the cape flows. I do think he's good for that stuff.
There was one weird panel with Batman early on. I thought I liked the more cartoony stuff when he's reacting to Damian later on. I didn't particularly care for the art in the flashback though, which unfortunately is like 80% of the book.
I don't have any problem with the art. I don't think it's a standout good. I think it suffers from the muted color palette because it's flashback, so we're going to do all this muted colors. I think it suffers from that. It doesn't pop in the same way that most of his art does. But I don't think it's bad.
I think I just didn't like the overall aesthetic of it, and it makes
That's fair.
it makes it Walker's weakest issue in terms of art in the book.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, we'll see what next issue brings.
What's worse though about this is that because it's so inconsistent, I can't even go, next issue is going to be terrible. Like next issue could be fantastic.
This one could be easy to write off because it's the flashback issue, and then once we get done with the flashback, it could be back to just being the quality it was. And if so, then fine. I'll read to the end of the arc. If I feel ultra disappointed by the end of the arc again, like I did the arc before 1000, then I'm definitely dropping it because I don't even care if the start of the next arc is good again.
Yep.
Because at that point, Tomasi's proven to me that he can't end the arcs properly.
Yeah.
He's good at teasing the setup at the start, but he's not necessarily good at actually hitting the landing.
This one, he wasn't even good at teasing the start with the Arkham Knight.
Well, okay, not in 1000, but he was the first proper issue of it though was good.
Okay, that was pretty
Yeah. Well, Mythology started off okay, and then it just got progressively worse.
Yeah.
I want to know if the third arc also begins with an M because it's mythology. This is medieval.
Mecha Warrior.
Menstruation.
Wait, what?
that delayed reaction made that worth it. All right. What are you giving it, Car?
3.
Yeah, I agree with the 3. 3 out of 10.
It's a great start to this show, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll take us on. I really hope I like the new Batman rare. That'll take us on to Action Comics 1011. Brian Michael Bendis writing with Steve Epting on the art. Leviathan Rising! Still happening.
Yeah. And so we see Manhunter in full in. Kate Spencer, the Metropolis Special Crimes Unit, come to take her in. And it had me wondering if this is actually Special Crime Unit and if that's really Maggie Sawyer because of stuff that we've seen previously. And by the end of it, I'm pretty sure it was her, right? Because of the bumblingness, it didn't seem like these are agents of Leviathan, like the ones that came for Mr. Bones or Director Bones. But yeah, so we get to see Kate Spencer finally as Manhunter, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. On the run.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Superman finds Lois. We get a little flashback to like how Tiger left, and Tiger gave her a bunch of intel on what's going on, like the entire history of Spiral, what it is, all the ins and outs, all the secrets, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to publish a shit out of this," basically. And then after they leave, though, unfortunately, we actually see that Tiger gets nabbed by the thing that this big dude with the blue bomb, whatever it is. Seems to get to Tiger. Tiger might be gone. He might be dead.
Yep.
Or teleported.
Which is a shame.
Because there's a theory in here, because of the lack of the bodies in the other places, that instead of killing everyone, it's actually teleporting them all somewhere.
Yep. And that's the other tale, too, is that they're not going after the world governments. They're going after these spy agencies. And that's what Lois puts together, is why are they going after basically the foot soldiers and not the generals?
Yeah.
So
no, I like when Lois is on the phone with Perry. I've got this story, Lois, and I'm sure you can write it. But I need the Lois Lane headline. Like, what's the spin in this?
Yeah.
And Good's like, what's the Lois Lane headline? Like she doesn't understand. Like, just do it. So anyway, they go to Huntress because they need a corresponding source.
Which Bendis came out to Twitter because so many people were like, "Oh, Huntress, that was cool." It was originally supposed to be Grayson. and then because of the events of Rick Grayson,
yes,
Bendis couldn't use him.
Of course.
So he didn't say it was a last minute change, but he was very disappointed because he wanted to play up the whole Dick Grayson Superman relationship, which, man, it's another reason to make me hate what they're doing.
I mean, it's fun for. I mean, I like Huntress, so it's fun that she gets a little bit of time here. But
she was. It also makes sense though because she was a higher up. Like she outranked.
But
Connor, do you remember if it was Agent 37? Was Dick's?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What's the question?
Dick Grayson's number in Grayson. Do you remember if he was Agent 37?
That sounds familiar. Okay,
because she was like Agent 2. Like she was. Huntress was way up there, so it still makes story sense that she, they go to her.
It does make me think though that when Rick Grayson's corrected, that Bendis will find a way to have some Superman and Nightwing moments.
Yeah, because he wanted it there,
which is nice.
Such a bummer.
He was 37.
Okay.
So basically, the Huntress is like, wait, you left Amanda Waller alone, like in your house. They go back to the fortress, and of course, Amanda Waller has stolen a bat pod thing that Batman had left behind.
And I love they're like, why would Batman leave something here? And Superman's just like, because that's what Bruce does.
He leaves things everywhere.
He leaves things everywhere, which I love. I love the humor around that. So I really love this issue. My one problem is that Epting draws Jimmy like he's 16 years old still.
Sure.
Which I get that Jimmy's supposed to be young, but I felt like I was looking at Archie here, and not Jimmy Olsen, who's, as he points out, is a war reporter. He has seen things. He's experienced, hardships. So, it's a small thing, but it didn't ruin the issue for me. I was just like, geez, Jimmy's young as shit here.
Yeah, that's fair. Although we are glossing over a scene here where a mysterious figure comes to Guardian, who's in the hospital after the Invisible Mafia stuff. And basically he's like, hey, like, what exactly says to him again? You'll be basically. He tries to recruit him, right?
Yeah, because he tells him, he's like, hey, you stand for what we stand for. It's kind of like this truth and justice and American way stuff.
Yeah, so he's like, basically, we've taken out all these organizations, like something new's here to replace them, and he wants him to be a part of it. So,
which makes sense because he did work for Cadmus. That was like his thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guard there. So, having him be this sergeant at arms for them. I'm just wondering what this whole point of Leviathan is. 'Cause I thought I had figured out with Talia, but the more they keep name dropping Talia, the less I think she has to do with it.
Leviathan rising. So that's when they start speculating about the lack of bodies, and Superman describes the blue explosion where it wasn't really a bomb in the traditional sense. There was there was a reaction. There was something happened,
Right.
but it wasn't like a traditional explosion. So that's where we get into these theories. And Jimmy tapped Waller though, the little sneaky ginger that he is.
Yes, he's got his sources. He is a war reporter after all. But they're like, well, wait, why would Amanda Waller, if she's involved in this at all, why would she go through this whole thing? And it basically, because she's Amanda Waller. This is what she would do.
It's a really interesting place because the final page is basically just like, okay, so who's Leviathan, what do they want, and what happens next? And we get all the things that are at play sort of around like Superman, Lois, and Jimmy. It's Question, Waller, Huntress, Manhunter, Doctor Bones, and Guardian, right? It's got all these people around them.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting though, because I got confused for a second. It says to be continued in Event Leviathan on sale June 12th, and I thought, wait, did the big one shot get pushed? And I checked, and I was like, no, it's still next week. What they're actually talking about is the actual first issue of the event itself, which is interesting that they're not saying, hey, read the big $10 special that's coming out next week.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a bit weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
So no, it's put all these pieces in play. It's not answered a damn thing. This has all been set up, this arc, and I've enjoyed it. So I'm excited for Event Leviathan now, which makes me wonder, what is Action Comics doing while Leviathan's actually going on? Is that tying into it still, or is it just doing its own thing now?
I don't know.
Intrigued.
Yeah.
I wonder if Action will be like the Jimmy. Well, that won't be the Jimmy say because we're getting a Jimmy book.
No, because Jimmy has his own book.
Okay, well, you know what I mean.
Lois has her own book.
I'm expecting.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like a specific side to it in Action.
Well, that's the one thing that Bendis has done, and I feel he can pride himself on, is Superman and Action do not feel like the same book. Like they each have their own groove that they've made, and this has been really seeding the Leviathan stuff, while Superman's been seeding the Unity Saga stuff.
And we still have the Invisible Mafia, we still have Red Cloud, we have all this stuff to play with. Either post Leviathan, or I wonder if they maybe what Action's doing during this time is that Invisible Mafia starts to try and maybe take advantage of the situation that Leviathan's rising.
And so at the end, you get the Daily Planet. It looks like a Twitter post, and it says at Lois Lane exclusive Leviathan Rising. Do we feel like the Leviathan Rising is the Lois Lane headline?
Yeah, I suspect so. Now I'm really looking forward to that one shot next week now. Obviously the main part by Bendis, but also the Jimmy and Lois stuff by Rucka and for Action. So and even Supergirl's getting a part in it as well. So
yeah,
I look forward to it all. This is good. What are you giving Action Comics, Matty?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm really enjoying it. But again, the art, just little tiny stuff.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 as well. I think the reason why I'm not going higher than that is just because it is very much, here's all these pieces in play. There's very little actual dramatic hook on its own in this issue. It's just continuing all the pieces, putting them all in place for the start of the event. And that's cool. So, that is actually comics, which will take us on to Wonder Woman issue 71, G. Willow Wilson writing, with Xermanico and Tom Derenick on the art. So we're still in the town, and Adelaide, whatever her name is.
Atlantiades.
There you go. They're dealing with the angry mob, and the angry mob are angry at first, but then they feel love again, but then they all learn the lesson because they can't abandon who depends on them.
Yeah, but also the reason that they feel the love again is because Atlantiades
blasts
does
them
this
with his power.
Shine. Yeah, and I love that Wonder Woman was like, no, you can't just do that. Like, that's not how we solve problems. And Atlantiades is like, well, why not? I'm a god. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
And so I love that tension between them.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman's like trying to teach a point here, and she gets so far with it. For me, the more exciting stuff was probably Maggie following the sword into the pit.
Yep.
The wormhole or whatever it is that leads to wherever all the gods came from.
And it's so foreboding that Aphrodite doesn't follow her despite being a god.
One
Aphrodite's like, no.
Favorite moments is the transition to where they're staring at it and it says elsewhere, and the elsewhere is kind of going into the pit.
into the hole. Like you can't escape the void.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's that full
that's pretty cool.
page where she stumbles upon what was it, a Goliath? Colossus, there you go.
They're calling it a Colossus. It looks like the Minotaur, but
Yeah, but it's huge.
it's massive.
Is this one of Hephaestus's inventions? Maybe, yeah, maybe a
Probably.
big robotic Colossus.
Yeah, it could be. So, but yeah, another one of my favorite moments was with after Atlantiades pacifies the crowd, and Wonder Woman's like, "You can't just do that," and she's like, "Oh, because it doesn't work on children either. So now the kids will still have memory of all of this, and you can't take away their reason." And the girl goes up and goes, "Are you a boy or?"
Mike. Because
it's a you a boy, and he's just like, yes,
and that's it. There's no other discussion. Just that's it.
Yes,
and I love how it was handled.
Yeah.
No, why is Steve on the cover? Steve's nowhere in there.
Because they wanted to draw. The Dobsons wanted Steve there.
Let the Dodsons do what they want.
I don't know. Anyway, so Wonder Woman, is alerted to what's going on with Maggie, and we get this great page of her coming in and like flying into the Minotaur, into the Colossus.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great page.
It's right as Maggie's going, right, screw this, I'm going in with a sword, and she's taking the swing. She, there's obviously a second where she thinks it might have been her, and then it's like, oh no, it was just Wonder.
Yeah, but then it gets back up, and Wonder Woman's like, Maggie, ready your sword.
Yep.
It's time to fight. And that's really off the issue. I don't have a whole lot to add about this one specifically, but I'm enjoying the run.
Yeah, I like how Xermanico is managing to balance the art and the quiet moments too, because like those moments with Diana and Atlantiades, like there's still like movement through those. Like I was never bored. Like the art and the words go together really well. Yeah, and then you get to this big Colossus with a Minotaur head, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
There's a couple of big things like the page where Atlantiades uses the power, when they go up and the big white light. Yeah. It's like, man, that is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I'm so into this.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's good stuff. We give it, Connor?
8.5.
Matt?
8.5.
Straight 8 from me.
I will say I did read this directly after Detective, so maybe it was just slightly higher in comparison.
No, you're good.
All right, so that's Wonder Woman. That'll take us on to The Flash, issue 71. Joshua Williamson writing with Howard Porter on the art. This is the second part of Flash Year 1. And
Whiplash. Between this and the last issue, I got whiplash from this book. What's going on?
Yeah, like I expected him to be in the future the whole time, but he's back in present day by the end of the issue, and I don't know if I like that more or hate that more. I'm actually really confused.
Right?
As soon as I got to that part reading this, I go, "Oh man, how's Pete gonna feel about this?"
I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Yeah,
like because on one hand, okay, we're back in the present. We can do year 1 stuff. On the other hand, wait, this whole thing was just for one issue?
Yeah,
because right now I'm like, what was the point of this journey to the future?
It's to establish Turtle as a threat.
It's to establish Turtle as a threat, and so that he knows what the Flash looks like and takes the name.
But I kind of hate that though. I
hate that as well.
So that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, like, I hate that he gets the idea from himself in the future. I hate that.
Yeah, that said, I love the idea that old Flash knew that he would have to come through this because he remembered doing it. So the whole idea of the time loop, right? And then him asking him where he's at certain things.
Which time is he from? Like, just to check.
Yeah, just check that and like, oh, you and Iris, just friends. Okay. August, detective. Okay. Yep, this is the same one that.
I like the one that said Wally. What Wallace? Isn't it the same?
Same name? Like, no. Yeah. So I liked all of that stuff. I liked how fun the time travel was, and then to see old Barry cut loose, and he's like, oh, I haven't had a challenge in a while, because he had to watch his speed, because of the turtle, and he's learning. It's problematic that he's learning from himself. Like, oh, how'd you do that? Oh, you got to slide into it. So when we see him come back, using the cosmic treadmill to come back, he slides into it. Yeah, it's a little bit, I guess you can say silly, but yeah, Is this a year one? And what is this? Like, because it doesn't feel like a year one anymore.
I
a
don't
good
know,
question.
especially because he has to forget he's went into the future. So how much of this year one is he actually going to forget in total? Like, do we actually get a proper year one in the back half of this arc, or does almost the whole thing get erased?
I feel like we've already hit a lot of the year one beats though. With we've done, we've done the first running, we've done phasing, we've done time travel now. Again, we've done all these first, learning how to slide into to breaking.
Here's my thing though. I don't think there should be time travel in a year one Flash story.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying, if we're ticking things of here's what we can do.
This is how me and Pete differ, because I'll always take time travel.
Not in year one, no. Let me do that in year 2.
What the context is.
Year 2.
Year 2. That's the dark victory of the Flash.
Yeah, year 2 or year 3. You don't go straight to time travel. The story of a year 1 should be not only the obvious things to learn to use your powers and like thinking of the name and the suit and all that, but it should also be the choice to be a hero, why he actually wants to do this day in, day out. And he's not really made that choice yet. He's not gotten to that point.
I feel that's the title, is you ease into time travel.
Can we point out that he spray paints his logo onto himself? I assume. Because he doesn't have it when he's in the future. Yet when he goes out into costume at the end, he's got the logo. It looks kind of spray painted on. Is the only way I can describe it onto the t-shirt.
Yeah, that's fair. He also has no mask. He's just.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't learned to use. That's what we have to see in year 1 still. Is he has to learn how to make the suit out of the Speed Force.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how I feel about this, because on a technical level, it's pretty well paced and perfectly enjoyable. In context of the story and last issue, I just don't understand what we're doing.
Yeah, in context of where we are in the story, but also just in context of this being the new origin of the Flash, I don't think I like it very much.
Yeah.
It feels like something that can be ignored later.
Which is a problem, though, because year 1s will get reprinted for years because it's a year 1 and it'll have that name on it.
Let's not give them any ideas for Superman. All right?
I think that they've already got many an idea of what they're going to do with that.
I agree. It feels like it probably can be ignored after the fact, but I kind of hate that as well, because it means reading the next 4 issues is going to be kind of tedious. It's like, all right, I'll just go through it.
I will give Williamson credit now that I have no idea what to expect for the rest of this, because that's what we talked about the last time. Is that we had high expectations. We knew what a year 1 was.
And then we went, oh, it's actually a time travel story. We're doing this future thing.
Right, and now it's back.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least, again, we talked about this at the beginning. There's these ups and downs within Williamson's run that maybe if it wasn't double shipping,
I
wouldn't.
Don't think this would actually make any difference between these 2 issues of double shipping.
I do. I think if you had to wait a month.
No, I think they're paced well enough that they could still be monthly issues. I think it's just core story problems.
Yeah, none of my problems here have anything to do with pacing. Pacing's fine.
I don't know.
Pacing's solid.
I don't necessarily think that if he didn't, the time travel, you know what I mean? Like, take up a big whole section. He's only, you know what I mean?
No, I don't think it changes. I think that was clear. I think that was always what was going to be the case, whether this is monthly or twice.
I hate inserting all this extra crap into an origin story. And it just feels like it's murking up the origin story. And maybe this will all make sense by the time we get to the end of the arc. Maybe it'll all click into place. And if it does, then bravo. But I'm just not expecting it.
Yeah.
I'm just not expecting it. I'm just...
I still had fun. I like seeing Turtle in the future as like Emperor. Looks scary, But at the point too, which Turtle is this? Do you know Williamson is working pretty well with Snyder and Tynion?
Yeah. What happened to Baby Turtle?
Yeah. Where's Baby Turtle? Where's Grodd? Like
this is year 1. This is in the past.
But the future Turtle.
But the future Turtle.
Well, that's baby Turtle grown up. Easy.
He grew up fast because he's all grey haired.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Then again, maybe it's a Ra's al Ghul situation where old Turtle puts his consciousness through the still force into Baby Turtle.
Hey, I could do. Yeah, why not?
There you go. Why not? That works. Oh dear. I wish I was more positive on this. I really do, but I feel like it's just doing things I don't like. Like just conceptually, over and over.
I still
Like,
had fun. I'm still having fun with it.
Yeah,
like,
we know.
I've lowered my expectations on it. Like,
Well, I lowered my expectations after the last issue. Went, okay, I'm going into this. We're doing a time travel thing. I don't like that for year one, but fine, that's what I'm getting. And then that's not what I'm getting.
sorry.
Matt's causing chaos.
That's a.
Well,
yeah,
what's
the
new?
ladder. All right, sorry. I dropped my mouse pad and mouse.
Oh dear. I mean, I like the art. I like Porter doing flash art, but
Yeah.
you know. All right, Matt, what are you giving it?
Little Pete's just like you know.
I'm just deflated. What are you giving the flash, Matt?
I did a 7.5.
Carter.
Maybe a 6, just because it is still technically well written.
5.5.
Ooh.
I considered that.
All right, that'll take us on to Batgirl 35, Mairghread Scott, writing with Paul Pelletier on the art. So Batgirl was kidnapped last issue, or I say kidnapped. She was trapped in a tank by the terrible trio, right?
That still falls under kidnapped.
Yeah.
It was kind of but she wasn't like snatched off the street. She was,
Well, no, she got lured into a trap.
Yeah, but then she was locked up in a trap, in a tank. That's kidnapped. It counts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. It was kidnapping. Yes, I'm forgetting that some kidnappers will like lay candy on the ground and lead the kid round the corner or something, and then spring a trap on them.
I mean, you are describing kidnapping. You are describing, here, kid, take the candy,
You're
come into my
also
van and get more.
describing a plot point of ET. Like,
I don't know if that was meant to be an argument for how this wasn't kidnapping, but you just described kidnapping.
I love that the terrible trio are just basically setting up Hostel. Like,
oh yeah, like we cater to all fetishes and demands, because there's one panel where it's like, call it S&M. There's someone in like a gimp mask and a whip, but it's all like in silhouette, so they don't show it too much. Because
but then there's like dog fights in one panel, and
So, that's like
a gun room.
This is how you tell my personality is I got far more upset over the dogfights than I did of the torture and murder and S&M stuff. Like, I was like, oh no, they need to be taken down now because of the dogfight stuff.
Well, that's because you get excited by the S&M stuff. You're like, oh yeah, now we're talking my language.
I mean, to each their own. Are you king shaming me?
I'm not shaming nothing, man. If you enjoy being whipped, then you enjoy being whipped, and you live out your whipping life.
For the record, I do not. Okay.
No, he's the whipper, not the whippy.
No.
That's what he's saying.
Let's know. Let's start these rumors. Let's not do that.
It's not a rumor if it's true.
Shut up, your wife. We'll ask her. she'll confirm or deny. So a lot of this issue, Batgirl's in the tank, and it's her trying to get out, whilst the terrible trio are basically making the sales pitch. And then when Batgirl does kind of get out of her straitjacket, they're like, the tank will never break. She's fine. She tries her, her armed spikes and her gauntlet, and she tries her various like grapple guns and whatnot, and it ends up being her safety parachute in her backpack that she.
Which I love that as an idea for a Bat family member, that if you're going to be gallivanting on the rooftops of Gotham, you might as well have an
emergency
safety
parachute.
Yeah, in case you miss that ledge or the hook doesn't go in.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
It does.
I like that.
So that's going on, and then when she does get out, the shark dude takes some venom or something.
That's what I'm gonna guess it is.
A bit.
Yeah.
It's all muscly, and fights Batgirl. So she's in a bit of spot injury.
The creepiest part of this is when Shark tells her that she's gonna die with clothes on, which is because they had to, because it's a bat, And I was just like, I got chills on that.
That's a really dark implication, yeah.
It is. And I think part of it as well is, don't worry, you're not even going to be unmasked, because you don't worry about your identity is part of the implication there as well as obviously the more overt stuff.
Yeah, it's why the Taken movies work, because these are, Liam Neeson's out there killing people that are complicit in sex trafficking, right? So
they're terrible people. You kill them, Liam Neeson.
Exactly. So, and here when he says that, you're just like, oh my god, like what are these guys exactly into? So, and then there's also a little bit of infighting within the group between Fox and Vulture, which I liked.
Yeah, I'm loving their bickering.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's good.
It's like he accuses, he's like, "You get your old bones out of my face,"
Yeah.
you know, and she's like,
Is
"This
it-
is all your fault."
Is it next issue that's the last issue of
I
I
think
Mayhem?
so.
I think so.
Yeah. That makes sense because obviously we'll talk about the plot with the company.
Yeah.
Where that's going feels like okay, we're leaving it in a fresh place for
Yeah,
someone. to
pretty fresh
take
place
over.
because basically Alyssa's called in by investors.
Yeah.
And
From the UK, like they're
As the
proper-
villains, yeah.
yeah, they're basically villains, yeah, and they're basically saying, look, if you dump Barbara Gordon, you can still keep your position, and you'll
But
be.
here's the thing, I don't disagree with them because she knows that she's Batgirl, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So, but they don't. So they see this that Barbara Gordon's doing this, less than ethical business decisions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we
so-
because the thing they bring up
Yeah.
is that there's something on the books about funding something for Poison Ivy, and we
Right.
know why she would have done that. We know that
Right.
there's context here.
And Alyssa presumably does as well.
Yeah,
Right.
but this is the thing. They threaten
But
to
public.
put the company under, which will then take all the employees' jobs away. It won't just
Yeah.
affect Babs; it'll
That's
affect everyone.
what's getting her the choice. It's not about should I undermine her things as Batgirl because she knows about
Right.
that. She doesn't care. She
Yeah.
she's on board with that stuff. But they go, look, if you don't take this deal, we'll just put all this public, and public opinion will drop, and all your
Right.
shares will drop, and everyone will be out of a job. So screw all your employees.
Because they said this is not a buy-in, this is a takeover.
Yeah.
And then at the end, Alyssa's got to decide, like, well, what would Babs do? And I fully believe that Babs would be like, yeah, fine, it's Gotham
Yeah.
cleaning.
I'll manage, without that, but keep all the employees their jobs. That's what she'd do for sure.
So
But I like that as going forward. Okay, she hasn't got the company anymore. She's got to
Right.
go, back to basics maybe.
yep.
It'll be interesting to see that as a direction for the new writer. I can't remember who. Oh, it's Castellucci, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cecile
Cecile
Castellucci.
Castellucci.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
And we kind of know that the trio are sticking around because they were
Oh, well, they're in the
solicited.
solicits. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
because they tease a fourth member that
I really like it when different teams have a good handover. Like it feels like no, we'll do something and you've got to run with it. Don't just do a complete fresh start. Don't
Yeah.
just ignore everything.
So-
You take the
sometimes-
challenge almost.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes I'll appreciate a fresh start, but I also would much more like when it's kind of like when Morrison seeds these characters like Professor Pig and Flamingo,
Yeah.
right? And then we see other people pick up and use
It's
them.
it's a good argument for why it'll be issue 37 of Batgirl
Right.
and not a new issue 1, right? 'Cause
Right.
No, this is a continuation. Nothing. Writers
Yeah.
change, teams change, but it's still
Yeah.
in the same story.
Yeah, and I feel like the Terrible Trio are a great foil for Babs because you look at where she's at now, where she's working at for a politician, right? She's doing tech stuff for her, and you have Jason as a bard, right?
Yeah.
That was a fun scene too, where he's looking over all of her stuff that was put out.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's getting the moving company to come and take it to
Yep.
his place to put
Mhm.
it somewhere, which is
Right.
it's a decent move.
There's still stuff I hope that's answered when Castellucci takes over about like why exactly he was, remember he stirred up the crowd back at the beginning,
Oh sure, yeah. That might get answered. It might be one of those dropped
Yeah.
plot lines we never see. But given that we are continuing pretty directly with
yeah,
the company stuff and the Terrible Trio, I mean, sure, it's not out of the realms of possibility.
so
I'll get my own terrible trio. This is one of them.
Ah.
Firefly. Yes. You little menace. No, I mean, I liked this issue well enough. The Batgirl stuff getting out of the tank was fun. The villains were kind of enjoyable to deal with. Yeah, it's basically just on par for what the run's been doing. Pelletier's art still kind of
it's
Yeah,
there.
I like it a lot more than you do.
lot
Well,
of
once
dodgy mouths.
I liked when Shark hulked out.
Mhm.
That was well handled. I feel like Pelletier does do action very, very well.
The final page where like he's sort of on fire
Yeah.
behind Babs, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does look good. All right, Matt, what are you giving it?
Nate.
Connor,
Yeah, 8.
I'll give it 7. All right. So that'll take us on to Justice League Dark, issue 11. James Tynion the fourth, writing with Alvaro Martinez on the art. Take it away.
So we've got 2 plot threads in this issue. We got all the stuff on Mirror, which is, you know, all the magic users dealing with their deal that was presented to them by the Lords of Order. And then we've got Zatanna and Wonder Woman doing their thing. So which one do you want to start with, Matt?
Well, let's start with Zatanna and Diana.
So they're off to visit Mordru because they want, some chaos to fight the Order. Right,
and they find out that Mordru has been operating under their nose. He's created a pub in the lobby of the Justice League headquarters, the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, he's basically gone, hey, those Harry Potter movies cool. Let's do the Leaky Cauldron.
Yeah, and so no one is aware because of magic, right? Like he's been there the whole time. Although I love the idea of the Hall of Justice as this museum that's always open. People can go visit.
Yeah, but they're no alcoholic drinks because Superman's a bit of a stickler.
Yeah, which as a straight edge person, I kind of appreciate, know. But I also believe that Superman would be like, yeah, beer and wine's cool.
Yeah,
like don't overserve.
They're like in the private lounge or the private cafeteria. Like, I'm sure he'd allow that.
So, and that's why I love Zatanna's like, well, don't get this twisted. This isn't anything to do with you guys. This is all him, and I kind of love that Mordru isn't necessarily the villain here. He's there kind of this is the hero journey. This is the hard lesson.
Yeah.
And he's just like, look, you have to have chaos for order to work, right? You can't have one without the other. And that when everybody decided to get involved with magic, he preferred chaos because it was messy.
Yeah, his idea was magic is inherently chaotic because it just changes things at the whim of some words. How can that be order?
And basically, you're just redirecting the magic when it comes to chaos versus order. When you're putting in spells and incantations and potions, you're tying it down to something that is basically a ticking time bomb. Yeah. And that was proved with Naboo and the rest of the Lords of Order that once you get enough order, it's not enough. You have to wipe chaos out. Versus chaos is like, sure, there can be order because there needs something for us to bounce off of. Versus order is like, well, no, if it's completely ordered, we've won.
Yeah.
And so the part that got me is when he silences Zatanna, knowing how powerful she is.
Oh, and he just kind of takes away her mouth and leaves it like
and her nose, so like she can't breathe.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
So she's suffering. Dana is weighing over her head because she deals with mythological stuff, but not magic,
No, not until recently.
And the slapdown that Mordru gives Diana, he's like, no, this is chaos. Yeah. This isn't what you're looking for. You think that's what it is. And then he just kind of pieces out and he imbues the ruby with chaos energy.
Yeah. So they pick it up and they become new Lords of Chaos. The idea is Mordru, he was the only one left. He was the only Lord of Chaos.
Right.
But now Diana and Zatanna too.
Well, it's kind of very Star Wars in that versus the Sith and the Jedi, right? Whereas the Sith, there can only be two.
Sure.
And the Jedi get so blind into their mission that's how they get taken out. And you kind of see that a little bit in these Lords of Order. Is Mordru says it, they all put their essence in these magical artifacts so they could stay in control. They couldn't just let things be. And this is why it's a problem now. So I feel like by the end of this, the Helm of Fate won't necessarily have Naboo associated with it.
Maybe not, no.
But then that takes us to...
I just want to say, before we move on, I love what this run has been doing with the... Because now, we've done this with Mordru now. We did it with Cersei, in the Witching Hour. Yeah. It feels like it's setting up that all these villains, yes, they have their own agendas and they're doing arguably evil stuff, but they can often be reasoned with depending on what the purpose is. And they're not just out to destroy everything. They've got a specific agenda they want to fulfill. And I feel like, okay, now that when it was just Cersei, I'm like, okay, that's one, but two's a pattern now.
Right, well, because he even brings up Hecate, and what they had to do to her was out of necessity. It's so magic could thrive, they had to bind Hecate.
Right,
know,
but it
because
makes me feel like that's long-term plans for the series is accepting that, okay, maybe in the same way there's this balance between chaos and order, maybe there has to be some sort of balance with the villains and the heroes.
Yeah, and that's what I think, that's where it's going, because then you get into Mira. They jump to this place called Core, and Core was where the first Homo Magi lived. And it's this place that is just inherently magical, but it's not imaginary, not like Mira, where you know, how did he put it? Like, there's the veil that, you know, because it's imagined, the people are tied to that place.
Yeah, so by taking away its power, it literally kind of vanishes. All the people just disappear.
And so
Bobo's sword loses all its magic, and it's just a sword now.
Yeah, and that's where the shock out of this one comes, is like they're getting ready to make the deal, and then all the people from Mira start just like, I don't want to say vanishing, because it's not like the snap, right, where they turn to ash.
It's more disintegrate. Like they get like
piece by
holes
piece
in them. Yeah. It's like a block of like a block of cheddar cheese with all the holes in.
You mean Swiss cheese?
Swiss cheese, yeah. Well, I mean, you get cheddar like that here as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, anyways, they start going, and Bobo tries to use a sword, and that's where you find out from Blue Devil, like, well, no, the power came from Mairghread. That's just a sword now.
They're setting up to fight, and then you know, they're like, all right, your 5 minutes are up. What's your choice? And something's like, oh, you're about to go. Oh, we'll never give in. And Jason Blood just gets up. It's like, nope, we choose to live.
Which again, that's to me, that's chaos, right? Because they're not all going in. That's where I feel like the power is going to come from, is the fact that they're going to make the choice that if you are magical, you can take it and be forgotten.
Yeah.
Right. But that's their choice, and the rest of them aren't, and they're going to stand and fight. And that's, again, when Wonder Woman and Zatanna show up, I feel that's going to be the turning point, is the fact that they've made the decision to do it. But yeah, and they turn Blue Devil into stone because he tries to fight the Lords of Order, and it seems hopeless. Yeah. But no, I like the whole idea of Core, that this is the first place where magic was born, and where it was bound, and there's so much magic in this place, just inherently. Like, you just can't get rid of it. It's in the DNA of the place.
Yeah.
But it's very much a tangible, because they bring up that the Lords of Order are taking out all of these ancillary magical places, and because it's cleaning up. Yeah. Because there's too much magic, and now it's gotten too out of control.
But this place is kind of safe, which is cool.
Yep. So
I really like the issue, obviously. Do you have a little bit of a pacing problem in that we kind of finish with the mirror plot? You know, that Jason Blood going, "Oh, we choose to live,"
right,
is the last we see of them, and that's about halfway through, maybe just over. Feels like there's quite a lot of, okay, now we're into Wonder Woman and Zatanna.
Yeah.
Which is, it's all good stuff. It's just maybe could have been spread out a little bit more, just intercut a little bit neater.
Probably. Yeah, because I felt like there were whole big chunks of it that were, instead of being like intercut. Yeah. Which I felt would have made the pacing ramp up. But also, anytime I hear the term chaos magic, I can't not think of flipping Grant Morrison. So, you know. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was again, I really love this book, because it's doing a lot of fun stuff.
It is, and like I said, how is this only 11 issues in? I mean,
I know.
Add a handful more for the.
Well, and we really haven't dealt with the other kind in a while, so this whole chaos versus order stuff, I feel that plays right into the other kind too. Yeah, definitely. Because what do they represent? Like, are they chaos? Are they order? You know, like, will chaos magic be just as deadly to them as it would be to the, or will it amp them up? And this was all part of their plan.
Yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure. But this is a great first year on the book.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, there was a bit of a speed bump with the Witching Hour, just because of, I feel, how it was handled.
You're more of a pacing problem than anything in the story, though.
Well, that's why I said a speed bump, because but we still got to where we needed.
I think being more removed from it now and just thinking back, I like it more, just because of all the actual plot elements are in my head rather than the pacing of the event itself.
Yeah.
So I like it in terms of the overall narrative.
Yeah. All right. So what you rating it?
I'll go with an 8.5.
Yeah, I'll go with an 8. It was, again, a lot of fun. Art's still decent. Like it's
Yeah.
It was,
Less
it was all right.
standout moments in this issue, but still solid throughout.
Excellent. Cat, don't cause any trouble. You've been good. You've been good. Oh, he's hitting the keyboard. No, don't be a shortcut for it. Don't be a shortcut for it. Cat, why are you picking the worst possible place to lie? Alright. That was just Lee Dark. And that'll take us on to Terrifics number 16. With Jean Lun Yang rating, Stephen Segovia on the art. Matt, did you read this?
I did. I got through it.
You got
Just enough time.
Got caught up.
I got caught up over the week. I also got caught up on Silencer. So,
Good.
but yeah, no, Yang. Oh man, I miss Justice League of China. The team dynamic is there. He automatically has it. It doesn't miss a beat. But on this one, I love how he's dealing with Plastic Man as this lapsed Catholic that has all this guilt about being a lapsed Catholic. So it just, that cracks me up because he's like the key in this going forward. Even though you could have just done it with Mrs. Terrific, right? Because we know of her stance on religion versus Mr. Terrific. But no, it's coming from, an unlikely source.
Yeah, this issue has them still inside this sort of training program gone awry in the Stag building, and people have got health bars above their heads. In fact, eventually they do, because just when it seems like they've suffered through the initial thing with the
well, they're only 4 plagues through the 10
with the gnats. That's the one they're dealing with at the start.
Basically,
it rewrites itself, and all of a sudden they're in like a fantasy setting, and it's like the start of an RPG where they meet these 2 flies who sell them, or try to sell them armor and weapons. So they get these like almost like digital like helmets and shields and swords and hammers and axes and all that kind of stuff. But then they don't want to pay because we didn't ask for these. So the flies fight them, and Mr. Terrific actually, I mean, doesn't really die, but dies in the video game, as it were. Yeah.
Yep.
And he sees what basically the game's version of God is, which is this entity, this orb thing, and he comes back because they actually buy an extra life for him. so
which then makes them thieves because they don't intend to actually give him. Well, it was not that they give him one of the cubes, but that's all the flies wanted because they want a Wi-Fi connection. So then whatever this orb entity is can spread throughout the internet.
I'm just going to call it Skynet. It's basically Skynet.
Yeah, it is Skynet. And so it wants to go throughout. And when they try to take it back, that's when the problems come through now. Because it goes to spread out and take over the city. But once they get the T-cube back, sorry, I got distractions coming from this side.
Yeah.
It redoes it, right? So it traps him back in there. But Plastic Man's son and Element Dog show back up, and they look like they're going to be a factor.
Yes. Both Metamorpho and Element Dog, though, get mouths that start speaking on their chests. Worth mentioning that. Also worth mentioning some fun moments early on with Plastic Man. Truck Plas, or whatever he calls himself. He basically becomes a big semi.
Big rig.
Yeah, big rig. It drives them all to safety at the start of the issue. I thought that was pretty fun. I also, when they're dealing with the flies, he turns into a giant fly swatter as well, which I also
get away. And there's a fun little seed there where they talk about when flies land on you, they poop, right? And he Miss Terrific goes, actually no, they vomit. And he's like, that doesn't make it any better. And then so when Mr. Terrific gets hit, it's fly vomit that is what's doing it. So it was almost, and Yang gets the team dynamic so well.
No, it really does. Because all the there's at one point Linya has to get the T-sphere up to the thing to destroy the gnats, and she does, and there's a high five moment with Plastic Man after it.
Yeah,
but it's a really sweet little moment.
Yeah,
it just does.
And there's a little bit of something going on between Linya and Plastic Man's son.
Yeah,
he brings that up.
yeah, but he points out that it's not like because the dog basically implies that it's like oh, she's into you, and he's like, nah, a girl has been into me before. I know what that looks like. This is something different. This is something else.
Like she's seen me before somewhere else, kind of vibe. But I like that. I like that he's become more of a factor in here. Like he just didn't just go away.
Yeah.
Same with Element Dog. I'm glad they showed back up. But yeah, and we get the Herald shows back up, and it to take them to who's really pulling these strings, right? And it turns out to be King Stag.
Yes, which, given that we're seeing the real Stag outside with his daughter being angry that everything's going on, I'm sure this is just a digital version of Stag.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe his ego got so big that he created an AI that's based on him, and this is what's happening.
Right. Well, and it fits into the line of the dungeon crawl game, right? That they have to face the king at the end. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got caught up.
They've got some more plagues to go though. They're not done with the plagues.
They do. They're not even half done yet. Well, because they asked what the fifth one is. It was diseased livestock. So like, oh boy, can't wait to see what this is. So, and when you get to the 10th, that's the worst one, right? That's the firstborn. The death of the firstborns.
Is that how Plastic Man's son comes into it?
I hope not. That'd be terrible.
That would be really dark, actually.
It would be.
Yeah. No, book's super fun. It typically always is. I love that they've kept Mrs. Terrific around. They've kept Plastic Man's son. I like that the cast has expanded.
Yep.
But the core banter's still there. So no, good stuff. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah. So 8 out of 10. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
So that'll take us on to the Silencer issue 17. Dan Abnett writing with V. Kenneth Marion on the art. And this is the penultimate issue, because issue 18 is going to be the final one. And we ended last time with Silencer coming home in costume. Her husband and kid don't know it's her. But we have Smoke shows up, and we have this giant fight take place in the house with the husband and kid kind of nearby, and like just out of danger's way, and just ducking and diving and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
90% of this issue is just action.
It is, and a lot of Quiet's is trying to warn her, that Talia's on the way, that like there's she's sending squads after you because she doesn't believe you.
Good severed head.
The memory wipe is taken, all that kind of thing.
You can do it. As far as severed head goes, you can do a lot worse.
Yeah. So I mean, I think one of the things that I like about this book a lot when it gets to the action is how it uses the mechanics. And while the origin of Smoke was a bit convoluted, it's actually really neat that we have something where Honor's power actually disrupts her power. It disrupts Smoke's power, but it has to be within a certain range. So a lot of the fighting in this issue, a lot of it's about tactics of getting close to her to make sure she can't turn into smoke again.
And she's sending a field of it too, because there's little zones that overlap to where she can go, which she figured out in the last issue, which I really liked.
Yeah. Because one of my favorite things as well at the end, when she finally kind of wins the fight, Smoke's trying to pick up a gun to shoot her, and she's like, well, you have to be whole to pick up the gun, which means I can hit you. And that's a neat moment as well. So I really liked all that stuff. If I have any critiques, it's like, I kind of wanted the family to find out that it's her, and they don't.
I suspect we still get that next issue.
Because she pulls this elaborate thing where she gets the other guys to come back and say, your wife witnessed something, she was in danger, so we had to keep her hidden in secret, and the issue ends with her coming through the door, and as far as they're concerned, this is the first time they know she's alive.
I suspect next issue, the final issue, is Talia showing up
and telling them, to try and break up the family.
Because like I said, we knew Talia was on her way, right? Sending squads. Yeah. I think that's how we end this book now, is with the confrontation with Talia and coming out with the family.
If Silencer shows up in Leviathan, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh, she should.
That'd be totally cool. Because so far she's really only shown up in Nightwing, under Percy.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to see her show up more.
And on the rough television show Arrow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I'm glad that she's been a bit of surprise hit of a character.
Yeah. I like the character a lot. And I'm going to do.
I think I know what he's going to say. Yeah.
There's a slight spoiler here for for one of the finales of one of the CW shows. If you're concerned about CW spoilers for the TV shows, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. But yeah, Matt, Supergirl's teasing Leviathan for next season.
Okay.
That's kind of weird, right? Like
A little bit. I mean, sure.
well,
I have no idea what's going on in Supergirl at this point.
This is disconnected to everything else. It's just like a
Okay.
post-season
Gotcha.
tease.
yeah.
for what's
Okay.
You'll like the Lex stuff at least if you do catch up on Supergirl.
Yeah, I'll get caught up, but I just I saw you on Twitter talking about Red Kara and Comrade. Like I no idea what the hell's going on there.
Yeah.
So
Just cut your losses with Flash. Just leave that behind.
Yeah?
You don't need to.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The finale was absolute garbage.
no.
Absolute
I don't know,
garbage.
man.
Yeah, it's terrible. Just all you really need to be watching is Doom Patrol and Legends.
I met with my friend from Seattle on Monday, and he goes, "You need to watch Doom Patrol," and I was like, "You need to shut it." And I'm tired of people telling me this. And he
Well,
goes,
you need to
"You
listen
know-"
to people.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, "You know what would make people stop telling you that if you just watched it."
Just do it.
It's so good.
No.
But hey, okay, so XS on Flash, all right.
Yeah, hold on. Do you want spoilers here for a minute before we?
Yeah. Let's go spoilers, guys. Here.
All right,
Let's
spoilers
stop.
for season 5 of the Flash. If you're not caught up, skip ahead a minute or two.
Just skip to the
Doesn't
next
it-
book in
Yes.
the timestamps.
Does that have any payoff? Is there any Legion stuff?
That's
what I want to know. That's all. That's what I was holding on hope to.
No. I will say you will see her fade away like the end of Infinity War in the finale, though. If you really want to catch up,
Damn,
the timeline changes and she
She's
fades
gone.
away. Yeah, she's gone.
she's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
damn.
She did not think it was boring and pointless.
Yeah. Well, that's what I started to feel after that one. That one where she kept trying to go back through time. That's the last Flash
that was
episode I
funny.
watched.
Though.
Yeah.
That was
Well, because
funny
you
about
kept-
being that terrible.
Yeah. Well, it was almost like Live Die Repeat / what was the other name? Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
A little bit like that, but yeah. So no Legion showing up.
No,
So that was a waste of a character.
not even a hint.
Oh man, so
Nothing.
angry.
Nothing.
Well, that does save me time from having to catch up on Flash. So
Yeah, which you can do to
Time
watch
to Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol or Legends. Maybe Legends might ease him into it though. Legends is maybe a more palpable show for Matt.
It is, yeah, and
I
oh,
still
man,
need
that
to
had
see Bubo.
such an amazing ending for the season.
Yeah. Just skip season 1. No, just start with season 2.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Although
I'll probably watch
there,
Supergirl
there was
first.
that one joke in this last.
Admittedly,
episode
that one joke in the finale was hilarious because we'd suffered through season 1, and they know we suffered through it, so they're poking fun at it. But you know,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Check out Television for the Multiverse, where me and Connor talk about DC TV shows every week in depth.
Oh yeah.
So, oh yeah, we written silence. That's what we're talking about.
Me?
Yeah, you, Matt.
7.5.
Cool. Connor.
I agree with that. 7.5.
And I go solid 8. I really like this one. So that'll take us on to Dial H for Hero, issue 13. It's the 3, rather. Issue 3, not 13.
Pete's losing it.
Issue 3. It's issue 3.
Oh.
Sam Humphries writing, Joe Quinones on the art. And this issue introduces a bunch of things. I like that it's from Summer's perspective, mainly. This issue is about Summer and her sort of poor upbringing with her mother. Her mother was this, like, you know, beauty pageant obsessed, like, awful person. And that's why she always wants to run away. And they're tracking down the cop who stole the phone, and Miguel's kind of like nervous about it. He's like, maybe we should just turn back. There's a really funny kind of montage in Central City where they want to talk to the Flash for help, so they keep trying to do these petty little crimes just to attract the Flash.
Yeah,
but
she pretends to be the mirror madam.
Yes, the Mirror Madam, and then they try and like steal like beer from a store, but the clerk's like, it's root beer, it's not even booze. It's like, oh, underage drinking, oh.
Yeah.
It's very delightful. And then ultimately though, the cop does use the dial and becomes this weird psychedelic, make everyone like think of happy memories, nostalgia.
This is basically delirium. from Sandman.
Sure, I'll.
Complete with all the font and the text. It really reminded me of that.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I didn't like about this issue is the stupid double page layout, which was vertical. I did not enjoy those ever.
Oh, as soon
Ever.
as we got to that, I was like, "Oh, Pete hates this. I know how much he hates this," and it was cracking me up.
And what's worse is every time I try to put on screen lock in my tablet, I always accidentally click one of the pages, and it sends me back like 5 pages, and I'm just pissed. I'm just pissed at the audacity. Anyway, but then Summer actually sees the phone and grabs the dial and dials herself, and she becomes this kind of punky, rocket in her back, kind of teenage with attitude Lobo character.
Yeah, she's just smacking everyone with a guitar.
Yeah, so she's got a guitar that she's using as a weapon, and she's got like a rocket in her back.
Okay, so she's Elias. That's good.
Yes.
More likable, Matt. More likable.
Well, I don't know about you, but Elias has been way likable lately. So, Connor, just know that WWE stands for Walk with Elias, and you're good.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. But we basically hear like the person on the phone that's been talking to everyone, and the Thunderbolt Club's coming, blah blah blah. It turns out it's the original because there's a flashback at the start, and then it's revealed at the end that it's the person on the phone inside the Heroverse is the original Dial H for Hero character, whose name I am now forgetting.
Robbie Reed.
Robbie Reed, thank you. I was going to say Danny Reed. I was like, nah, that's not quite right. Robbie Reed.
That's real close to Ronnie Raymond. Robbie Reed, Ronnie Raymond. They had issues in the 80s.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
It's whatever. No, this issue, it was fun. It maybe went a bit too far with psychedelic stuff. There was a couple of pages that were weird. But what I will say I liked is when Summer used the dial, the art style changing again to this kind of washed out like 80s comic. I really appreciated.
Yeah. I've loved how versatile the art is in this. And while you may not like every style that it does, Pete, you said this, you weren't as into the psychedelic stuff. I appreciate just how different it is, and how the one artist is pulling this off every issue. Like 3 issues in, we must have gone through like 8 or 9 different styles of art now from the one artist, and all of them are as well rendered as the other. Whether you like them as much or not is kind of just personal taste, but I think they are all very well done for what they're meant to be.
It's very playful. It's very inventive. We're halfway through this 6-issue book now. We might get another one, season 2 of Wonder
I would
Comics.
hope so. But I mean, we'll see where this ends first.
Yeah. They could all be dead at the end.
Let me know if one of them ever exclaims Sokka McGee.
Robbie Reed did.
He did?
Yeah,
Nice.
at the start of this issue, he does it because it's the flashback, and then it's the final word of the issue as well, with him, revealing that he's the guy on the phone.
Because I just pulled it up to see when Dial H was created, and it was in the late 60s. So I thought it was an 80s thing, but it's even farther back.
I've got checked, so no people in the comments don't have to correct you with.
Yeah.
It's like, actually.
Yeah, no. I try to do that when I can. So.
Yes. No, I don't corroborate anything. I just throw things out there. Hope for the best. See what sticks. No, I'm still digging the book.
Hold on.
Oh, what?
I'm looking at all the old hero forms, and one of them is named Magneto. Oh man,
that's pretty funny. I will say I think I like this issue focusing on Summer because I think I actually like her a little bit more as a character between the two.
I think I'm a little conflicted. I think she's the more interesting character, but I think I preferred it from his perspective and her being a little bit more enigmatic and kind of having that bit more attitude.
It's it's interesting though because obviously he feels the call of the dial when it's used. Well, now she'll feel it as well. They'll both have this.
Yeah, I like that they've both used it now, and that it kind of makes her a more equal part of the book.
Yeah. No, I like that because our
So-
backstory was interesting, and like our mother locking her in a closet for like hours, and then she's like, "No, I knew you were going to do this," so she has like a crowbar like ready. And
Yeah. So she stuck it in there for next time.
Smart.
Yeah.
So she became Lolo Kick You.
yes,
Yeah.
that was the name. Yes, Lolo will kick you.
Oh, these names, man.
Miguel wakes up and they're still in the truck, but she's still Lolo kick you. He's like, "What the hell?" Summer. It's like, "Well, it's Lolo kick you. At least until the power wears off."
Yeah.
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
man.
I'm enjoying Dial-H for Hero. I'm enjoying it. We
Yeah, me too.
we give it a car.
I'm gonna give it I'd give it an 8.
I will also give it an 8. There you go. Happy days. Which leads us to the final book of the week, which is Freedom Fighters issue 6. Robert Venditti writing with Eddy Barrows on the art. Matt definitely read this. Cora,
I definitely read this.
are you behind in this?
Yeah, I've been behind since before you were behind.
Before I was behind,
Damn.
yes. Yes. I want to catch up on this, but I keep not having time.
Get-
Now, admittedly,
Get caught up.
I'm kind of doing it to myself a little bit because I keep just reading all my books on a Saturday before we record, which is not a good time to be squeezing in extra issues.
I wish I had that luxury.
But no, Matt. So tell us about Freedom Fighters issue 6.
So Overman has entered the game, and
Oh.
yeah, he's Nazi Superman, and you see that he landed on Earth in 1939, but not in Smallville, Kansas, right in the middle of Nazi occupied Germany, and he becomes the ultimate weapon and why the Nazis are basically able to win.
So you
but-
could say that he's the last Reich of Krypton.
Yeah, the last strike of Krypton. But this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Is like he has some doubts over this, and it's what kind of leads to Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters being able to fight them so effectively. Is he he doesn't necessarily think like during World War II, that's one thing, but once you've conquered, it's a little bit different. So it kind of instills that's why they were able to have these heroes occupy the U.S. and whatnot. And it ties into multiversity to where the death of Overgirl leads Overman to leave Earth. But, the Razzies still need their Overman, so they started doing tests and experiments, and they ended up making one work on one Heinrich Henshaw, and we end up with Cyborg Overman. I got way too excited on this. Because basically what happens is Overman comes and attacks, and the Führer, Adolf II.
Yes, Junior.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to do this because this is, holding your super weapon, that you use as a deterrent. You don't actually use it. But his son and his advisors like, yeah, but we're going to start losing the U.S. if we let the Freedom Fighters go. So just do it. And he's like, well, his son's like, well, don't have him do it too much because I want people to torture. So when they unleash him, the Freedom Fighters start fighting him back, and he just starts going through them. And you're like, oh man, is this Superman like that hardcore? And you find out that they've had him in this chamber, which they showed in the last issue, just being shown Nazi propaganda through this whole time. So it's almost, you get this vibe that the more he's been sitting there just absorbing the energy, the more powerful he's become. And it's almost made him demented. And he starts fighting, and Human Bomb ends up taking off his helmet, and they teleport the rest of the Freedom Fighters out with Uncle Sam, and he just lets the cyborg have him. That's when you find out that he is a cyborg. And they see it before they teleport out, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we know we're not fighting the real Overman, so this makes it a little bit more. And yeah, but that's basically the issue. It's basically a fight between the Freedom Fighters and Overman, where he tears through them all before they can get out, and it looks like maybe Human Bomb didn't make it quite out. But it's kind of up in the air where this leaves. But we also get Uncle Sam being introduced to this new generation of Freedom Fighters, and the only one he recognizes is Doll Woman, who is the wife of the original Doll Man. and that he brings up where it tied into Multiversity, where they try to bring Uncle Sam back that one time, but it cost them the Ray and Phantom Woman. And so this ties directly into that continuity. So I'm curious to see where this is going, because now suddenly Multiversity is being tied into with alternate Earths and whatnot, And then what we see, that's what's making me want to check out the Green Lantern, and this is why I'm such a nerd for continuity, is that it looks like it's tying into Multiversity. And so, yeah, oh man, a lot of fun. I had no idea we were going to be getting Cyborg Overman, and they did the thing that you kind of want to see in one of these things, where they just, turn the name from Hank Henshaw to Heinrich, Heinrich H. Henshaw, so becomes a Cyborg Overman. Hooey.
Yeah, what are you giving it?
I'm giving this an 8.5. I'm really digging the series. And once they teased Overman, and I didn't really think they're going to get into Multiversity, because I thought that was interesting, because leave it to Morrison to kind of humanize Nazi Superman and have him be upset over his I think she was the clone. She was a female clone of him.
Mm.
That's how they used that. But he just leaves that Earth. But here, they got to have the cake and eat it too. And, I'm sure it's not the last we'll see of him.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up the books and takes us on to the section of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week. We do our top panel/moment, top art, top cover, and top 5 books of the week. So, Matt, what is your favourite panel/moment from the week?
I gotta think. Was it from Wonder Woman? Yeah, I'll steal this. This is probably someone else's. But when you see the Colossus for the first time with Maggie and the sword, that was a pretty holy shit moment. So that was a good one.
Yeah, Connor?
Mine's also from Wonder Woman. That was actually one of my options, so I'm not too annoyed, because my other option was just as good.
I jumped ahead. No, it's Cyborg Overman. I just talked about it. It's when you find out that he's a cyborg. You're like, what the hell? And his skin's just melting off because the human bomb went off on him. That's mine. So go ahead. Sorry, Connor.
That's fine. Mine's the title page for Wonder Woman, where Atlantiades kind of unleashes the power, and you got a blind light, the circle border at the top as well. I just love that page.
My number one moment of the week, it's probably from Wonder Woman as well, but it's probably when Maggie thinks she's about to hit it with a sword, but it's actually a Wonder Woman. That big full splash of
yeah, that's great.
I like that.
I thought you were gonna say the delivery of the Arkham Knight.
Hey, that may be the most memorable moment of the week.
I would agree with that.
But yeah, so that'll take us to best cover. Matt, what do you have for best cover?
I had to go back and look on a lot of these.
Yeah, I'm having a look at some variants just now, just to see.
I've got mine if you want me to jump in, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going with the regular Batgirl cover, the Manipul one. I
That
really like the way it plays with the colors.
Oh yeah, I have mine. I just saw it. It's the Manipul Action Comics, which my shop did not have.
It's extremely nice.
Upset. Yes.
I'm going to go with the Batgirl variant because Middleton.
Of course you are.
Oh, it's beautiful.
He is like a self-parody.
I am. I like what I like, alright?
Well, I mean, we both picked Manipul, Connor. So
exactly, yeah, shut
judge.
it, the pair of you. Worship at the altar of Manipul. Alright.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think it was that strong a week for covers.
No.
Sure. Alright, top art of the week then, though. Matt?
Xermanico. Easy. Wonder Woman.
Alright.
Yeah,
Connor?
same.
I'm going to go with Epting on action. I can see what Matt's saying
the
about...
action sequences look good, but Jimmy killed it for me.
I can see what Matt's saying about Jimmy, but I mean, it doesn't take me out of it, him being a bit younger looking. He still looks like a human being, though, which is unlike some other artists when they mess up faces.
I mean, yeah. Sure.
Pelletier, for example, is one such artist. All right, well, we answered that, didn't we? Yeah, top 5 books of the week then. Matt, where you going?
Number 1 is Freedom Fighters. Number 2 is Wonder Woman. Number 3, let me pull up the rest of these. Number 3 is Justice League Dark. Number 4 is Action Comics. And number 5 is Batgirl.
Okay. Connor?
1 is Wonder Woman, 2 Justice League Dark, 3 Batgirl, 4 Dial H, 5 Silencer.
My number 1 is Action Comics. No, you know what? No, it's not. Number 1 is Silencer. Number 2 is Action Comics. Number 3 is Wonder Woman. Number 4 is Dial H, and number 5 is Detective. No, I'm kidding. Number 5. Number 5 is Terrifics. So there you go. There's a top 5 of the week, and I did ask very last minute on the Twitters for
Of course you did.
our good listeners their favourites. Luckily they pulled through, and for the record I asked this like right before I called you guys on Skype.
Yes, because you're a terrible person.
Shut up. So where are we here? So I've got a few. At T_Van48, absolutely got to be Action Comics. Bendis is killing it on that book. We're getting to see Lois, Clark, and Jimmy all getting to shine in their own ways. Also, those opening pages with Maggie Sawyer and Kate Spencer were great. There you go. We get the Flash 71 from the he's Ton. He's at his name's too long. At Stu-on, that's the one.
Okay.
Just Flash 71, very, very clear there. Talking Superman, because he has to be mentioned again. I want to say Action, but Silencer really blew me away. It's very cinematic feeling title. We're in agreement, because that was my number 1 and 2. Causing problems. And then from at Sentry is Void, the name being the Sentry and the Void Talk. That's a very specific fandom. I mean, I don't necessarily care for them, but I approve of how specific that is and how niche you are. Silencer, nothing tops Silencer for me unless Hawkman is out the same week. So there you go.
I approve of the Hawkman love.
Yeah.
There you go. That's we got some answers. So yeah, if you want to follow us at DC Comics Podcast, you can answer that question every week, and occasionally we'll even ask for questions that we'll answer on the show. So you can do that too. So this is the part of the show where I tell you what's coming next week, which is kind of a weird week.
Yes, it's a hodgepodgey week 5.
So week 5, of course, which is always fun. So we have some big stuff. Of course, we have Doomsday Clock issue 10, and we have Heroes in Crisis issue 9. And we did push Heroes in Crisis issue 9. I say we, I mean DC. Pushed Heroes in Crisis because something in it, at least thematically, links with Doomsday Clock 10. Typically we do Doomsday Clock first and make that the main event. Once we've read them, we might change our minds and put Heroes in Crisis first, depending on if they do remotely affect each other.
So do we think that Doomsday Clock influences Heroes in Crisis, or Heroes in Crisis influences Doomsday Clock?
No.
I'm reading Doomsday Clock first, so
yeah. As a will I care about Doomsday Clock way more. But I mean, I guess the hope is that Doomsday Clock somehow reveals that the Wally we think is Wally is not Wally.
It's possible that it undoes the Wally stuff.
Yeah,
and that's fine because I can read that, and that's what I'm hoping for, anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
but if that wasn't big enough, we have the was it 80 page or whatever it is, Superman Leviathan Rising Special issue 1, which me and Matt will definitely be reading. I think Connor's still reading the Lois and Jimmy parts, right?
I expect I will. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We got Batman Last Night on Earth, which I am staying far away from, but
no, I'll be there.
You being there, okay?
I'll be there with you, Matt.
Two of
you can't miss the end of Snyder and Capullo's story now.
No.
It's only 3 issues.
Oh, I can. I'm good. There is Dog Days of Summer, which is one of their anthology books. We probably won't touch upon that just because of how big the other stuff is.
Are there any interesting teams? G. Willow Wilson, Joshua Williamson, Mariko Tamaki.
Bat Cow.
Sejic's on the art in there.
Hey, if you guys want to read it, you guys
I probably won't. I never read any of these things.
I don't have time.
Some interesting teams for those that might be interested.
And then we have Detective.
I love that cover though.
We have Detective Comics Annual issue 2 as well. So hopefully it's better than this week's issue.
Well,
it's a standalone
I'll probably jump
thing,
into this because it's a Black Casebook story.
Okay.
So I'll be reading that one.
All right, okay. Also out is Catwoman Annual Issue 1, although I don't believe any of us will be looking at that. So that's what's out next week. It's also worth mentioning that next week me and Connor will have some Patreon picks to do as well, which would have traditionally been done on Elsewhere, but Elsewhere unfortunately is coming to an end. So there's some Patreon picks for some X-Men books, which will be on Comics from the Multiverse now. I mean, we never really specified that they had to be DC books, so... I mean,
no,
that's
I'm
fine.
just laughing that Elseworld's coming to an end, like there's a crisis or something.
There's a crisis, yes. There's a crisis. And I was toying with the idea of having like a casual chat at the end of the start of episodes, just call that Elsewhere, where if any of us have read books from other companies we want to mention and champion, which we do from time to time anyway, admittedly, but...
Just give it a bit more structure.
Yeah, give it more of an official segment.
I'm reading a lot of War of the Realms.
I'm okay to talk to you about War of the Realms, Matt.
I
didn't say right now. I didn't say right now.
I'm just saying. Be prepared, people, if this becomes a thing until War of the Realms is done.
Look, I didn't read everything that I had to read from the past week, but I did read Daredevil and Immortal Hulk, and they were both very good. So I'll just say that.
Daredevil is. Do you know what I will say about Daredevil? This issue 1 of this, I was very trepidatious about a certain plot point, and I was not super enthused about where I assumed it was going to go, because it's where these stories always go.
The ending of issue 5 did the exact opposite of what you were worried about.
I know it did, and hands up, I'm really happy about it, because in my defense, it is what usually happens in these stories, and I'm so glad it didn't. I'm so happy to be wrong.
Made a choice and is living with what was proposed that he did, and that's all I'll say with those spoilers.
I'm very happy about that.
No, it was very good. So we'll probably make that an official segment starting next week, and we'll talk about whatever books we read from Elsewhere. Not as in depth and in detail as we do the DC books, but more of a casual 10-minute chat, just kind of rounding
Thor
them up.
talk.
Yeah, Matt will want to talk about Thor. I'll be talking about Buffy and Angel and Firefly, because...
Okay, I'm not making this deal with the devil. Are you kidding me? Monkey paw. I'm on to you.
For the record, if you do want Marvel recommendations, I would say my favorite books from Marvel right now are Daredevil, Captain America. I would say X-23, but that's like ending in one issue.
I like Immortal Hulk, Cap.
Oh, Hulk. There you go. That was a good one.
Thor, of course.
There's something else.
Some of my favourites are coming to an end, though. Or have just ended.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because West Coast Avengers ended, and...
Mr. and Miss Sex is ending.
Is unfortunate. But, hey...
From the Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, the Taylor book. Yeah.
How dare we forget?
How dare we? How dare we? So look forward to that. And if nothing else, I mean, the one upside to this is that it gives Matt a chance to voice an opinion on some other books. So that has been episode 156 of Comics from the Multiverse, which hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll
and that's 3 years of this shit now.
Yeah, because we started with Rebirth. This has been 3 years of.
We're sorry.
It actually is No, hold on. What's the actual?
Yeah, 156 is.
Oh, you're right. No, yeah, 156. That's 352s. Yeah. There you go. Plus some annuals.
That's 352s.
That's 352s.
That was very something that would show up in the Taika Waititi.
I can see it.
Right?
Yeah, but less New Zealand or more Scottish, I assume.
No, I know, but I just the cadence of that. What's his name? He was on Flight of the Conchords. He was the werewolf in What We Do in the Shadows. Rhys Darby. That's very much one of his things.
Oh, is this the guy who was in that one episode of X-Files in that season 10?
Is, yeah.
I liked him a lot. Yeah, he's a good. He's a funny guy.
Funny.
He is.
God. He did this bit one time on a podcast I listened to about the tall poppies syndrome of New Zealand, where if you get too famous, they want to cut you down. So he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop being famous. Okay, just stop it."
Joe, the New Zealand accent is so soft and pleasant, right, and friendly that I can't imagine there being like a serial killer in like a New Zealand. Like I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this vicious serial killer like slitting people's throats and then being like, "Yeah, I'm going to slit your throat." Like I can do the accent, but like.
Stop it. Yeah.
But
it's Korg.
imagine Tika Waititi saying that. Like, I can't.
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah, it's Korg. Just imagine Korg from Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
you know,
It
very
is.
soft spoken, but a big guy.
It's nice Australian.
Yeah, it's a more pleasant, softer. It's kind of like how Minnesota is a really friendly version of Canadian. And Canada's already friendly.
You could say Canadian is a much friendlier version of Minnesotan. I think you meant to say.
No, Minnesota sounds way more soft and like silly.
Minnesota is You know, go watch Fargo.
I've seen Fargo. Thank you very much.
Extremely soft.
Yeah, that's softer than Canada. It's like Canada's accent turned up to like 15.
Because some accents are really harsh. You know, like you're talking Russian, German, right? They're hard and sharp. Yeah. And then you have soft ones like Minnesota and Welsh, for example.
Well, yeah, Minnesota's like that because of the Norse influence up there. With the Nordic dialects that tend to be very soft.
What
are we doing? We're back into etymology. We can't do this. We got to close the
show. What tangent to go on?
Like Pete started this.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I think we need a language section on this show.
352s.
352s. Oh dear. All right. That's big comments from the Multiverse. Thank you very much for watching or listening. I always appreciate it. I should plug the other things. So if you want to like and subscribe and comment, let us know what you thought of the books in the comments below. If you want to support the audio version specifically, on iTunes or wherever, give us a review and tell us how much you like it. It helps the show reach other people who might enjoy it, and so on and so on. Recommend us to your friends or your mortal enemies, whatever one makes more sense. You can also support us financially by going to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month. And at the $5 tier, you get a bonus episode once a month with me and Connor talking about a trade or a graphic novel. The last episode, of course, was about Teen Titans Earth 1, Volume 1. And I can tell you that the next episode will be about Green Lantern Sector 2814, Volume 2. Yes. Which we did Volume 1 like a year and a half ago. So we're returning to that series for the next chunk of Hal Jordan. Or it's not even Hal Jordan, because he well, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, we're at John Stewart, aren't we?
Yeah, we're moving on to John Stewart. So it's from that period of Green Lantern history. So look forward to that.
Didn't you guys do Mosaic at 1.2?
No.
Or no?
No Mosaic. But so thank you once again for watching and listening. I always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, guys, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.